what you want me to call you.
Yeah, I'll adjust it I'll adjust it in Zoom. I'll
Sounds good.
But no, everybody, welcome back. One Bad Roll. This is Tuesday lunch break as we get into our lovely adventure. Session 0 happened a couple weeks back, but yeah.
Sidebar: because you named the show One Bad Roll, I want to make you pay for that. Everybody should grab D6s and a D4.
And a D4.
And I forgot about that. Yes, you'll need a D4. You only need the one.
That's the only one I don't have next to me.
Oh no! Have you checked the carpet? They always grow widow eggs in my house.
It's probably there. Oh, never mind. It was still in the dice tray.
They go widow eggs and wander off. So let's zoom in on Click. Where are you? If I were to zoom in on, like, put the camera above your head, where are you? What are you doing?
Well, I mean, since I haven't really met any of the group yet, I assume I'm coming into the town where these people are staying.
Sounds good.
On the road, just showing up in town. Okay.
It's your average Tolkien-esque thing, right?
Yeah.
Mud huts, green hills, forest, the whole bit. It's a warm, sunny day. It's nice. Do birds and bugs and stuff avoid you? Do they sit on you like Snow White? I mean, how zen are you in relation to nature?
Just like a normal human, probably.
Okay.
Most of the thing, yeah. Nothing particularly in balance in nature, kind of thing.
I wasn't sure. As a bug person, I didn't know.
Well, because we change the environment and to suit our needs, build and stuff too. So it's like humans.
Right. Sounds good. So as you advance on the town, I don't know as if Click cares, but you do see that there are a large collection of people outside, maybe 12 people. And there's a guy on top of a crate. He's definitely pulling a soapbox moment, right? Arguing that creep on the edge of town really has to go, and you're watching them reach for their torches and pitchforks, like the beginning of Shrek, right?
Yeah.
Gobbo, I may or may not be talking about you. Don't look at me like that. Karina, you can hear all of this. I don't know if you care. Where are you?
I'm probably checking some of, are there any stalls in this town where people are selling stuff?
Yeah. So you got.
Yeah, I'm probably doing some trading, giving in some of the beasts I just hunted for just my basic everyday needs.
Do you care to get a particularly good deal one way or the other? Are you a haggler? Do you take what they offer?
I'm a haggler.
Oh yeah, sure. Are you good at it?
I think so, yeah.
Sure. Roll 2d6 and take the good one.
All right. That's a 5.
All right. So the guy behind the I almost said the desk. The guy behind the cart is like, well, I mean, there's your quality furs, and he gives you a lowball price, and you just kind of glare at him. And he goes, what I meant was, and he offers up a better price. It's not just the right one, but a little better than that. Right.
I nod my head and do the exchange.
And you walk away with, I'm not sure what would be a good price for furs. I've never been a hunter. Let's say 12 gold. If 10 gold is a good price for a hide. So he gives you a little bit better than average. And then he meekly suggests that this means you should do business with him.
What's he selling?
So he in this moment, he isn't. He's trading your stuff for gold.
Okay.
But he is stuff for sale. He's mostly an alchemist. He's not going to use the hide for its fur. He's going to extract the natural oils from it and use it for other shit. Because you kill cleanly, you're worth it. If somebody rips the hide to shreds, getting the oils harder. There's a hunter in the town who hunts with fire, right? Nobody takes his stuff.
But he enjoys his work.
You're right. He loves his job.
Got it.
Right. Pre-cooked. Right. It's like jerky. You eat
and that's what it's all about. You gotta love what you do.
Right. You eat what you drop. Right. So he's got alchemist files and various manuscripts on how to turn this into that sort of thing. You can hear the yelling and the group. So the guy on the soapbox is 16, 17. He's right over there, feet from you. And he is trying to, this crowd of people he's whipping up are mostly people who were shopping before. He knows what he's doing, right? He's going to where there's a crowd of people who are all a little bit stressed because they're in lines. Catman.
Yes.
Where are you?
Well, there is a tavern, and I am on the roof portion on the overhang of the patio.
Mm-hmm.
I am drinking milk.
I see.
And Duke and myself have climbed up onto this portion, and we are basking in the sun.
I see. So you see from here out in the forest, a pillar of black smoke starts to roll up. And the yelling below you, of course. Ha! Ha! Huh. I just killed a sneeze. I've never done that before.
Nice.
That was cool. Yeah. Gobbo, you hear an explosion near you. Something very large has burst into flames. What do you do?
What was that? I moved to investigate what it is.
You bet. How big is the... I assume you're like on your property out in the woods, but what does that look like? Is it a little mud hut? Is it a complicated, overwrought laboratory?
It's a mud hut. There is like a kind of bunker underground. So he's gonna like go up the ladder to see what's up.
It's got an underground bunker.
Because there's only one way out.
Nothing. Right. Good to know. So you head up top, you'll find that your various, I'm going to call them your friends. Your friends are fine. But it looks like recent construction. Somebody has built and then consequently blown up a watchtower nearby. That wasn't there the other day. Somebody must have built it during the night. It's not very big, right? Looks like people have come to spy on you and they screwed it all up. There are men that are burning and screaming and dying. The fire is out of control. It's going to spread through the forest, but not before it gets to your friends. It's definitely coming this way. That's a problem.
So fire's coming towards me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Time for a new place. Come on, friends. We need to move. So I'm going to try and put a cloak over them. There's like 3 of them.
Okay.
They're not big or anything. They're just
so is this like a tarp over Frankenstein's monster? What is...
Yeah. They're like humanish size. They're not like strong or anything. They kind of work as like butlers or stuff like that.
Nice.
Or like hands to help. Either way, we're leaving.
Okay. Is your building important to you? Like, would you choose to save it given the choice? Or is this like, nope, we'll just build a new one?
There's nothing that I can't just buy to get new supplies of. So I'm just going to take my bag, take my friends, then we're going to skedaddle away from the fire.
You bet. Click, what do you think? There's trading to excuse me, my tongue just got ahead of my brain. You could trade, you could argue, you could get involved, you could be like, nope.
I stop and listen, lean on my spear, because I'm kind of head and shoulders above all the human people.
Yeah, right, because you can just sort of do this on one of their heads. Right.
Right, yeah.
You hear that the guy on the building, so some of the other people are like, well, now hold on. All right, guy. There's a weird guy in the woods, but that's not necessarily the reason for us to become a murderous bunch of psychos. Some of the more pragmatic ones set their morality aside and instead say, what's in it for us? Right? They shift from more morality to pragmatism. And he says, well, he's a creepy dude who animates the dead. He's probably got like, I don't know, a bunch of space and chemicals and crap. We've never found where he works. We've never found like the chemical vats. Maybe he's got like, I don't know, a hidey hole somewhere. We could use it as like a storehouse, raid what's in it and then fill it with food. And the people who, you look at the people, they don't look super well fed, right? They look like they could eat more often. And they think about that. And most of them sign up for that. One of them bumps Karina and says, hey, you look scary as hell. You want to help us go, raid?
I only work for money.
The guy in the soapbox, seeing the opportunity, shakes a bag of gold at you.
I think about it. I'm not very much into like the whole pillaging and killing thing. Like,
That's good for you.
So I think about it and I'm like, I'll come along, but I'm not going to commit yet. I'm going to see what's going on, kind of get the lay of the land, and then decide if I'm going to join in.
Through the hooting and the hollering, they take that as a soft yes, right? And they hoot and they holler and they're excited. So, Click, what do you think?
No, Click, go.
Click stands up straight and says, "So, human, you're saying attack a stranger in the woods and steal his stuff?"
Yes, but for the good of the people. You're making it sound all ugly. Don't do that.
There is nothing else but stealing stuff and killing people, from what I heard.
Right. Freeing up a space for us to have a storehouse. And anything that he has, we can sell and enrich our lives as a group.
So, group, he has money in places he lives. Let's kill him instead.
He goes,
right
no. Are you trying to convince them to, raid this guy?
But he thinks it's a good idea, so therefore he must think it's a good idea.
Sure. Roll a 6-sided die to convince them, unless, of course, you think you're good at this kind of thing. In which case, roll. I
actually think I'm an outsider, an alien, so I don't think I'm actually good at convincing them.
So roll 2 dice and take the shitty one.
And that would be a 3.
They don't go for that so much. They lose some of the fervor. They go, well, no, they're not going to attack him. But when you turn it around on him and he doesn't go, watch him kind of shake, oops. They lose some of their fervor. They're like, well, now hold on. He's got a point. We're not going to kill this guy. So why would we kill that other guy? And then they notice the fire and go, crap. Jim did it again, and they march off into the forest. Taika, what are you up to?
Yeah, so as they're just about to march, you hear randomly from the crowd, "Ow! Claws! Oh!" Because I jumped off of the roof, and I am now getting to the guy on the podium, but I'm doing it by jumping off of people's shoulders. And I dig my claws in a little bit whenever I jump.
Of course you do, because you're a cat. Right.
And then when I get there, I rest myself on his head.
Who's head?
The guy who had the bright idea of going and killing the guy in the forest.
I see. Right. The ass hat.
Yeah.
Got it.
I start to knead just a little bit. And I'm like, "You are all fools. I was leaving anyways. Whoever comes, I'm going in that direction." And then there's just a kid clumsily climbing down a building.
Falls the last 3 feet,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Gets
Lands
up,
on his butt, dusts himself off.
He gets up, his arm is scraped, and he just comes over to me.
Looks for blood, yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right? I am famous for running down something and falling over and going, "I'm okay," and then standing up and pulling rocks out of my arm and go, "Nope, maybe not."
Come, dude. I will mend that later. And not waiting for anybody else.
Oh.
The mercenary tiger will start walking in that direction.
Nice. Gobbo, how familiar are you with the forest you live in?
Pretty familiar.
Okay, sure.
Gobbo goes searching for mutants around here often.
Mutants. Mutants. You mean differently living. They're not mutants.
Sure.
Yeah. What an ugly word. Sorry, I read a lot of X-Men, right? So
isn't that their official term in X-Men?
It is, yeah.
Or is it a slur to them now? It's been a long time since I've read X-Men.
It's complicated. I actually would not recommend it at this time. Marvel's doing all kinds of weird shit right now, and there is nothing to me more disappointing right now than the X-Men.
Haven't they gotten rid of all of the different terms, and now they're they use the same one they use for
so now you have mutants and metahumans.
Metahumans. Call everybody metahumans.
If you're
everyone's
not
a metahuman now.
Everyone is. So Spider-Man, a metahuman means person who has powers who didn't originally have powers, who doesn't get them from an X gene. So you're either a mutant or a metahuman. That includes people like the Inhumans who had the Terrigen Mist affect their body. Those are mutated people. but they're not mutants. Like, so originally Marvel was doing mutants and mutates, and this got a little complicated, so they subbed out the word mutate for metahuman. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, bypass the X-Men right now. They're terrible. But Moon Knight's really great. He's never been better. So,
all right,
yeah.
Moon Knight.
So
Click starts heading in the woods because fires are a community hazard.
yeah,
It
right.
must be
Can't
fought.
have that. You bet. Gobbo, you notice that out of the woods, I mean, it's fire, right? The wildlife cares. Chipmunks and all manner of small beasts run this way in a little like wave of brown fur. But after that comes a large mutant. 2 heads, green skin. Think if somebody beat the Hulk until he was pulpy, right? And he had 2 heads. And he is barreling this way. Trees are getting flown through the air. He trips over a rock, pauses, yells at it, picks it up, hurls it through the air, and continues to run in this direction. What do you want to do? He'll be on top of you, like literally on top of you in a couple of seconds.
Is he running faster than me?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna see if I
he
can
has the
hide
legs
behind
for
a
it.
tree quick and just watch him run past.
You bet. Have you met him before?
This giant hulking mutant?
Yeah, he's in the forest.
I mean, I guess if he's just a regular occurrence here, then yeah.
Okay. He calls it. He introduces it when you met him. He calls himself Tim, and is a relatively nice guy. He's just afraid. He's not a mindless brute. People treat him like he is. He's probably not like you. Probably get along since you're like pro mutant and everything. You probably get along. Tim barrels past you. Maybe roll a 6-sided die to see how well you hide. Feel free to roll 2. You're tiny and he's big, and you're not in his line of sight.
Did you say roll 2?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right, I got a 5.
That's one.
You bet. You hide successfully as Tim barrels through the top of the tree that you were hiding behind. Most of it lands in front of you, meaning that you are now better well hidden than you were before. The rest of you watch as wildlife bursts through the town and vanishes into the forest on the other side as this giant 2-headed green Hulk ogre bashes his way through the tree line. The humans lose all of their fire immediately, crap their pants, turn around, and run inside to as many buildings as they can and shut the doors. Karina, Click, what do you think?
I'm gonna go. I mean, obviously that guy looks distressed. I'm just gonna go follow him and see if he's doing okay.
Who, Tim?
Yeah.
Once Tim gets to the town, he's going to take a breath, right? He'll turn around. You watch him add up that the fire can't burn on just dirt, right? So he's probably safe here. And he'll immediately doom and like that thing where little kids swing the legs out from under them and just land on their butts. Mm-hmm. But he's enormous. He's like 12 feet high. The ground shakes when he does that. Taika, did you run past him to get to the forest? Or do you stop when you see the giant ogre coming this way?
I'll stop.
Okay.
What I would like to do is I would like to see what happened in the forest. How I would like to do that is I'd like to connect my spirit to the animals that are fleeing.
You can do that? Cool beans.
Hell yeah.
Is that something you roll for,
baby.
or is it a passive benefit?
I'm gonna say I'd have to roll for it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I got a 3.
If you roll poorly, does that mean it doesn't work, or you get like the wrong memory?
I'm gonna say wrong memory because let's make it fun.
Okay, sure. So you possess a chipmunk's mind as it runs by for a second, like a cat scan.
Yep.
Because you're a cat. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, it was an accident.
I love it.
I can't be held responsible for those. So as you peer into this creature's mind, you get a picture of what you're pretty sure is its happiest moment. It's either adopting or raising 2 much smaller chipmunks. It's a happy parent. So probably not the memory you're looking for.
I will look at that chipmunk and just be like, nice.
You bet. Click as the giant creature starts to wail and sob like that. Big tears roll out of his face, splash onto the ground.
Apparently his tears are acidic. They burn a hole in the ground. What do you want to do?
I'm still going to fight the fire because.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because
Okay, you
like
bet.
I said, fires are a danger to the community, and communities is what's important. So.
So you get into the forest. It is burning. Roll a d4 so we know how long before the forest is lost. Forests are pretty rare in this setting, by the way. They're hard to come by.
I rolled a 3.
Rough. You have 3 rounds before the forest fire will become almost impossible to contain.
Well, I'm not so worried about the forest fire itself, but the town.
Oh, I
So,
misunderstood. Okay.
The
town
community
in
is
no
the
danger.
town where
Right, right.
people live. The
Unless
forest is
somebody
just
sleeps on the edge.
resources.
Right. Unless the forest burns enough that it falls down and then can sort of spread through the burning logs into the town.
Yeah.
The town's in no real danger.
Oh, all right. Once I get to the edge of the forest, I can see that. So
Right. You bet. Gobbo, when she runs past you, where do you go? Do we run like along the forest and stay in the woods, or do we burst into the town and I realize there's
Now
people
that I'm
don't like
safely
you.
behind him, so he can't just run over me, I'm going to shout out to Tim and ask him if he saw what happened. Tim, my friend, have you seen what happened?
Between Tim's distance from you and his sobbing, there's no way he can hear you. He's so emotionally distraught. He might hear you, but
All right,
the
I'm
odds of
gonna
him
chase
getting back
after
to you,
him
you bet.
with my friends, because
That'll put you,
probably safer to be by him. He's a
Sounds
big
good.
guy.
He is. He's massive. That'll put you and Click in the same general vicinity, at least for a second. Actually, for clarity's sake, would you describe what you look like, Gobbo, so people who see this are like, okay, it's not just a dude with poofy hair.
Very slender human, too attractive for his own good, very wiry. I'll think of more details.
That's okay.
All right.
Click, what do you look like?
I look like a 4-armed ant. I look like an ant, but I'm like, 7.5 feet tall. Slender, that slender ant build.
Yeah.
Carrying a long spear and a 2-handed sword. And, like a little belt pouch of little other things that you need to survive, but nothing really else.
That's not intimidating or anything. Great. Gobbo, you and Click see each other. Click is marching into the woods fearlessly up to the edge of it because, he's Click. He experiences no fear. And you see Gobbo, who is headed in this direction. I think you're both walking with purpose. Do you acknowledge each other? How does that go over? You've never
Hello,
seen each other before.
friend or foe?
I say, what started the fire, human?
I don't know. I heard an explosion and then I started running. I think I saw a tower on fire. I didn't see the tower yesterday, though, so it's odd that it was there and on fire.
I see. Well, the community here doesn't seem to be at risk, but I will stand here and watch.
You bet. A half-burnt human comes out of the tree line from where Gobbo came from, like further into the woods. Most of his face is charred. He's missing a couple of fingers. Right, he's literally holding in his guts with one hand. He reaches up with the other hand. He goes, "Please help," and passes out on the ground. What do you think, Karina? What do you think? This is the edge of the tree line. You can see this.
Honestly, I don't care if he lives or dies. Don't really know.
Don't know.
I'm more concerned about conserving the forest because obviously it's a valuable resource.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and rally the townspeople to help fight the forest fire.
Yeah, sure. Roll for it.
Yeah, is there a box I can stand on? Central?
There's the one from before. Yeah.
You yank it right underneath the guy's feet, just.
Oh, that guy
Right.
is currently on the ground with his hands wrapped around his knees and sucking his thumb on the ground. He is terrified.
I got a 4.
Nice. You bet. So average roll you're looking to beat is a 4 in most cases.
Okay.
So the chart, for clarity's sake, 1, you're not going to roll. You're never rolling to meet a 1 ever. 2 is piece of cake. 3 is not a piece of cake. That's really what it says, which I think is great. 4 is not that hard. 5 is fairly tricky. And 6 is simply an unfair request. So there you go. You rally the people successfully. They're not. I mean, they don't really want to be out here.
Stand in the middle of town and yell at everybody and be like, "What are you doing? You're not going to be able to eat if there's no forest for the animals to live in."
You watch some eyes pop out from windowsills, like the vicious looking one's got a point. And they come outside and they pick up dirt and they do. So some people grab dirt, some people grab buckets. They have water. There's a couple of mages here that create water to help each other out, right? And I mean, you've helped fight the forest fire. It's not going to cure it on its own, but it's a good start. Taika, what do you think? These people, sizing this up, these people need a little bit more help to save the forest on their own. I don't know if you care to save it, but...
Of course I do.
I love how you're like Antonio Banderas the cat. I love it.
You see, what I'm going to do is anybody who is not getting involved, I'm just going to give them a look and shake my head.
You shall be judged.
And I think this is judging people is something that I'm good at.
Okay. Now, judging people with an effect, is that something you're good at? Because, I mean, anybody can judge anybody else,
I
right?
think yes, because I'm following... Like, this is a direct follow-up to what the mercenary that I'm fully aware of has done, being like, guys, act. And then whoever's not, I walk over and I just shake my head slowly, give them a look, and walk away.
Okay. Sounds good.
5.
Nice, you bet. So the people who are not helping, they're like, man, we're being judged and found wanting by a cat. This is pretty lame, right? And they pull themselves together and help. Click and Gobbo, what do you think? The forest fire's under control. You've rallied the people. Well, they've rallied the people, and you have a very dying burnt. I mean, he smells awful, like burnt hair. I mean, he's gonna die.
Gobbo's gonna do his best to use medicine on him to try and get some more answers from this person who was clearly closer to the fire than us.
You bet. Do you have medicine on you, or is this like pack dirt into his wounds and call it a day?
This was gonna be, I'm gonna stitch him up and throw some chemicals on him that I know of. And
so this is something you're good at, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Roll 2d6.
I've never done it on living people, but
like, how different can it be? Right.
I got a 5 and a 4, so a 5.
How about that? You pull them together. He's not going to be, walking around and doing hard work for a while, but he's going to live. He's in really no position to talk yet. He's stable.
Okay.
Are you strong enough to pick him up, or are you going to ask the bug man to do that? And click. So
okay, good news. I healed him. Bad news. He's not talking, and I can't move him, and a fire's coming. Looking over at Click. Can you carry him? I can't.
Surely I can, and I pick him up with one hand, put him over my shoulder. Yeah.
Thank you.
I imagine Click picking him up by the ankle and just kind of throwing him over his back like a sack of concrete and walking away with him. So you get him to town. The townsfolk at this point, I mean, not only have they come together as a group, but they've noticed that, right? They've saved their resources. A lot of them need that forest to live. It's where their food comes from. It's where their new lumber comes from. And it's also a thing that attracts people from towns over to this one, right? It's a forest. That's rare as shit in this world. Lots of people come just to see the grass. Lots of people have never seen grass before. So it's a tourist trap, right? So they've saved their livelihoods because Karina and Taika were like, "What is wrong with you?" Right? So good for you.
Literally, it was just judgment of 2 different types.
What the hell's your problem? So they pull themselves together, and they get over it. Right? That aggression they had before turns into accomplishment, and then they see the dying man. Right? Well, not dying anymore. And they roll out a cart. They have what amounts to a gurney, right? And there's a town medic. He was just terrified, and he did not help with the fire at all. His argument At this point, when he notices that you notice him, it's like, hey, whoa. Don't judge me. If I got hurt, who's going to help all the people? And there are people who got in the fire, right, who he's tending to. But a burn here and there. None of them are like this guy. He rolls out a gurney, you lay him on it, and he goes, ugh, this is Jim. He's an idiot. I will look after him. You've done us a great service. Jim's an idiot, but he's also our town's most creative line of defense.
So he's your idiot then.
Exactly. He's an idiot, but he's our idiot. So we owe you, and then he motions to the forest more, and you kind of get the impression he's jumped to a second thought. Like, we owe you more than we can pay you, really. I don't usually speak for everybody, but in this case, I'm going to do that. I feel like we have made a terrible first impression. Is there something we can help you with? And he kind of motions to the four of you. 5 if you count the kid.
So just to clarify, these people look like they're kind of poor.
Yes. Yeah. They're underfed. They're poorly clothed. Nobody has anything that isn't caked in dirt. And I mean, the world you live in, that's fairly common. But they look even more famished. Some of them, you can see their spines from the front.
So they're like lower middle income.
Yeah. Like
Karina
when
just
high
kind
income...
of like puts her head in her hands and is like, just be smarter next time.
The medic goes, you hear that, Jim? We're going to need you to give you homework. And he grunts.
Oh, Jim is conscious.
Oh, barely, yes.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
That grunt might have just been pain. You're not really sure.
So, Taika,
I
require no payment, but I do require punishment. And I will walk over and I will slowly saunter over to Tim. I will look at him and go, remember this feeling when you try and burn down a forest. What part of his body is the least burnt?
The least burnt?
Yeah.
His feet.
Cool. On the bottom of his foot, I just run my claw along the bottom.
That's mean. That's cold. So the giant ogre has finally pulled himself together and has stopped crying because people ran around him like a living boulder. That's interesting. And he stands up and he notices Gobbo and he goes, ah! He's very loud. Like he causes a wind when he does that. The people freak again. They don't run behind buildings or whatever, but they get very tense. They kind of draw a line. They go, he's talking to you. And they sort of back up so that you're closer to him than all of them.
Hi, Jim. Did you see what? Yeah, fudge.
He reaches into...
Is the ogre Tim or is the ogre Jim?
Yeah, I was confused on that.
The ogre is Tim, the man who apparently blew up the forest is named Tim.
Yes. So ogre Tim, guy who had claws put through his foot is Jim.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
All right. Hi, Tim. Are you okay?
Yeah. And he scratches the back of his head and he comes up with blood. And he goes, well, yeah, I'm fine.
Do you need me to patch you up, Jim?
Okay. And he sees the man on the table and he goes, hey, who hurt my brother? And he starts slamming the ground. The people freak again. For real this time. They run into buildings to close their doors. Yeah, you didn't think I was going to have two names that were that close for no reason, did you? Like, yeah, they're related. One's a mutant. Maybe they're both mutants. It's kind of hard to tell. What do you want to do? He's upset again. Well, before it was fear, now it's rage.
I think Karina's gonna walk over, because obviously she has a soft spot for mutants, being one herself secretly. And she's gonna like, you said 12 feet tall?
Yep, he's big.
All right, so then she's just gonna like pat him on the tummy, because I don't think she can reach too much higher than that. And just be like, your brother's okay. He's the one who caused the fire. He hurt himself.
He hurt him. No, that can't be. He's the smart one.
Even smart people make mistakes.
He goes, you seem nice. You help me find person who hurt brother and squish like bug.
Did he see Taika / Jim's feet?
Only foot,
Maybe.
not feet. Wanted to clarify. 1 foot.
Foot?
Oh, 1 foot. Sorry.
Foot? Right.
Foot.
You just gave him a limp instead of having him be able to not go anywhere.
I don't think so.
It'll heal. It'll be uncomfortable, but it's just a superficial wound that'll probably scar the bottom of his foot forever.
He recovered. I think he was still in mid blubber at the time. I don't think so.
Okay, so he didn't see that. Then Karina would be like, I think we should go check the forest. Isn't that where your brother lives?
No. He won't live with me. He says the house is too small. Oh. But he does work in the forest.
Well,
He makes things that go boom.
why don't we go check that out?
Yay! And he puts his hand down for you to like climb onto it.
Jim, are you still bleeding?
He takes the hand that you were gonna climb onto, goes like this, and comes up with no new blood, and goes, guess not, and puts his hand back
Okay.
down to the ground. He eyeballs Click and goes, bug.
Upon that, the way he said bug, that is where I will jump up onto Click. I would prefer if you were respectful to those who helped.
I think Karina's gonna give like Taika kind of a look like you're not helping the situation.
Are you seriously trying to intimidate a 12-foot green
Yes,
man?
100%
Okay,
I am.
Sure. Yeah, roll for it.
Click just sort of cocks his head like,
Why is there a cat on me?
And I'm going to say
then-
that even though I might be intimidating, this guy's 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I probably take the lower of 2.
Yeah, he's enormous. Like, he's ridiculously enormous.
Click looks at him like he doesn't quite understand why bug is an insult. So
1.
One? So he looks at you, he snarls and goes, fuzzy.
I am.
Now, Jim, without this bug, your brother Tim wouldn't be here. I could only help him. I couldn't move him. Our bug friend, what is your name? I never asked. I don't think we exchanged names.
You didn't.
why I am Click, human.
Click here saved your brother Tim. Or Jim. One of the two.
I like to think that in canon, Gobbo does not know the difference between Tim and Jim.
I know there's an M, okay?
There's an M. You're right. He goes, bug save. You watch him add that one up and fail a couple of times. like a 404 error, right?
The light,
he-
light starts to brighten and then dims back down.
Yeah, right. You watch his
We'll
eyes
get
light
there.
up, and like he can't process that a bug has saved his brother, but he does. He eventually gives up on the idea because he does know Gobbo and he trusts him. So he's like, if Gobbo says you're all right, you're all right. And he eyeballs the cat and goes, I don't know, fuzzy. But he still offers to let everybody climb up on top of him.
I refuse. I climb
Okay.
up on somebody else on top of him.
I see. Are any of you opposed to having? How big are you as a cat? Are we talking a house cat or like a tiger?
So I am like a tiger cub. So
Okay,
I'm still
yeah,
like
pretty big.
house cat sized, like slightly bigger than a house cat. But
I was thinking
More
like
small
bobcat or
dog
link.
size.
but like so
Yeah.
small, like small dog, but at the same time, like my hands are
Mhm.
double the size of a regular cat's paws.
Right, because you're a Nord, right?
Because that's how tigers are.
Because you're all mutants in your own way, right?
Oh no, that's not even a mutant thing. If you look at like the feet of a tiger cub, they grow
they're
real
huge.
big.
Yeah. So Jim, Click, are you going with him? I'm not sure. You didn't.
Sure,
express
no, I just because like, they going somewhere and doing something. I'm interested in what humans think are important. So
So I'm going with you.
yeah.
It is
You bet.
faster travel if I accept this on my way out.
Yeah. So he marches you into the forest on his back and head and wherever it is that you happen to sit.
I walk. I mean,
You walk. You bet. He looks visibly saddened by that you did not take him up on the climbing offer, but he doesn't like. He kind of the shoulders slouch, the chin droops, but he marches without you. When you get to the tower, which is only a couple 100 feet from where Gobbo had been, just through the tree lines, it was hard to see. There is what looks like a charred husk of a very ramshackle watchtower. Some wood here, a post there, but I mean, it was never going to stand on its own anyway. There's really no reason it should have blown up, though. It's wooden. It's not like filled with TNT or anything. And he puts you down, and he starts sniffing the air around it like a dog, and goes, "Smells like burn."
I'm gonna hop down and try and investigate the tower.
You bet. Is that the kind of thing you do frequently? Is investigation
Yes,
a
'cause,
class skill?
I think so, because it falls in the line of hunting skills. I need to be able to track things. I need to be able to figure out what's going on.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
I do hunt people for a living. So I am a hired mercenary.
Sounds good. Roll 2 dice and take a good one.
Both 5s.
Nice. So he's not wrong. It does smell like burning, right? And there is what looks like a chemical trail that leads further into the forest. So the forest here is not super wide. It's just very tall. Even the trees themselves are mutated, as opposed to having a large horizontal footprint like most forests do. This one goes up. You could build a city up there in the trees, and you could build it high enough that you could not see it from down here.
Okay.
The people here can cut down logs for the rest of their lives and not run out a tree.
So
and
they start at the top and work their way down. It grows up, right?
If they were smart, yeah. They're not. There are lots of stumps laying around. But if they were smart, they would climb and work their way down. So you see what looks like a green series of, how do I put this? Acid stains that are vaguely footprint shaped, that kind of oblong shape that run out maybe 60 feet from here and then up trees.
Question for
Yes.
Taika.
Yes.
Did you get a good look at Jim's foot size?
Yes, I did. Indeed, I did get a good look upon inspection of the feet of Jim.
Does it match up with the footprint here that I found?
It does, except for the part where Jim clearly has toes and this footprint doesn't.
While the size does match, the lack of toes is problematic.
Alright.
I do not know how this individual walks or keeps balance.
Gobbo, would you consider chemicals to be part of your everyday life?
Yes.
You bet. Feel free to, if you care, feel free to roll to see if you know what that is.
I got a 5.
You bet. That's an excretion, not like a chemical drop. That's definitely a footprint. Giving from the shape of it and the smell, you have an acid bug in the forest.
An acid bug?
Acid bug, right. Acid bugs are a plague because they leak acid. So they're like a cockroach if it walked on 2 legs. And they leak acid. And when that acid interacts with specific kinds of dry wood, it causes an explosion. They're a plague. Them in a forest is a bad idea.
Well, and they're danger towns too, because towns are built out of dry wood.
Right, very much. They're like a pine borer if you turned it up to 11.
I have bad news, everybody. I've only seen this type of chemical once, and it was from acid bugs. There are acid bugs.
Karina kind of like hisses, like, ugh. Like she's definitely had to kill an acid bug or two before, and it was not a pleasant experience.
They pay well, if that helps. Like,
Yeah.
everybody agrees that acid bugs are a problem.
Click feels this is a threat to the local community, so Click should help destroy it.
If I leave, you will probably all die.
Nice.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Is that a threat?
Acid bugs?
No, but it is yet to be proven wrong.
Small cat.
Is your kid still with us in the forest?
Oh, 100%. He just follows me.
Okay.
Like right now, right now he's above me and scratching me behind the ear.
Nice.
Small cat, was that a threat?
Absolutely
that if you
not.
leave, we will die?
No, it was an observation.
I will make note of that.
I will make note of your making note.
Nice.
Click.
They're going to just have a never-ending supply of notes. Gobbo, you were saying?
He gets out a little piece of paper, puts on the big giant half glasses, and makes them. No.
Gobbo, did you say something?
Yeah. Click. Can you speak to acid bugs? Just wondering.
You know, because you're a bug, right? So you're clearly all the same.
There's a reason I'm asking and not assuming.
I could talk to it if it spoke my language, I imagine.
Good to know. Okay, worth trying then.
But then so could you.
Oh,
If it spoke
okay.
your
I
language.
get how this works now. Okay.
Let me inspect up the tree.
You want to head up the tree? Okay,
Yes.
sure. As a cat, I'm not sure you have to roll to climb a tree. I
Cool.
feel like you just do it. Like, you avoid the acid footprints, right?
Yes.
As you climb the tree, you watch as you get like near them. The acid is continuing to burn. It's eating through the tree. The tree's pretty tall. We're talking like skyscraper height. How high up are we going?
I'm going all the way up, baby.
No kidding.
I'm going until the point where I see that the acid isn't.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're following the trail then.
Yeah.
You bet.
I think Karina sees that like your kid is gonna try and follow you and just like grabs him by the cuffs so that he can't, because like he's gonna get hurt.
How does the kid deal with that? When you get separated, how does he... Is he opposed?
There's clear anxiety.
Okay.
Like he again, like he has a family, all of this stuff, but he's latched onto me as a parental figure for some reason, even though he has a regular ass family.
That's funny.
So there's like there's separation anxiety.
Fantastic. So, Karina, you just made a small child uncomfortable.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Like your
She's
safety
like
comes
better
before
than
you.
being dead.
Right. Your safety comes before your happiness. Right.
Well, like also
Karina-
like if you look at him now that he's up close, he has burn marks on him. He has some scarring, like scrapes.
Well, he's following a sentient cat into Hell's Half Acre all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that can't be good for him.
Oh no.
So as you head up into the acid-stained trees, it'll go up about 100 feet and then move horizontally. The first row of branches is up there. And the acid it'll go from up to across. Do you follow it across?
Yes, but I'd like to do it as quietly as possible.
You bet. Make a stealth roll while the rest of you make perception rolls.
I would say that stealth is something that I'm very good at, being a
Then roll 2
natural
dice.
predator.
You bet. Similarly, if any of you have perception as a natural talent, Karina, perhaps from her job, feel free to roll 2 dice and take the good one.
5.
I got a 4.
Gobbo has the opposite of it as a talent, so he rolled a 1.
Rough.
I rolled a 2, so I'm still pondering the note.
I see. You
making
bet.
a note of making a note.
So, Karina, you hear a lot of clicking and buzzing beneath you.
Like directly beneath us?
Yes, but not exclusively that. If I was standing above a junkyard, all of the cars below me would be buzzing like that, like a buzzing around your general area that is also beneath you.
Okay. So just to clarify, we're all still on the ground, but Taika's in the tree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a tree that looks climbable to like normal people? Like, I'm sure Karina could probably get up the tree. I'm kind of worried about this kid.
Yeah, you can probably climb any one of those trees. They're tall, but they're not like extra smooth or anything.
All right, I'm just going to throw the kid over my shoulder and attempt to get up a tree just to be safe.
You bet.
He holds on extra tight.
Do you tell the others that there's a buzzing? You shoot them a quick glance. You're not sure they're noticing, which is hard to miss because it's like it's like if there was a washing machine right underneath them.
Yeah, I just kind of bark out like buzzing trees
Like,
because I'm trying to get up the tree. I don't really know them very well, so I don't necessarily care about them as much, but I do give them like a little bit of a heads up, like I don't know how you're not noticing this.
nice. I love it's a sarcastic warning shot. Like, hey, buzzing.
She says buzzing trees, and I lean my head against a tree and listen.
Nice. You bet. Click. Would you make a dexterity save? What amounts to a dexterity save?
Dexterity would be something that I'm very good at.
Fantastic.
If you read that article I sent you.
Yes.
You know. Well, I rolled a 6, so I'm pretty much on top of that.
Nice. You dart out of the way as acid bursts from the ground and shoots at you like an angry water fountain. Where do you go? Do you land on the ground again? Do you?
Oh yeah, I stay on the ground. Yeah,
you bet.
I'm not an
Gobbo,
arboreal ant.
Gobbo, you see that acid sprinklers have shot up out of the ground. What do you want to do?
So it's just coming from the ground, not any trees, or is it?
There's a hole
hitting the trees?
in the ground, but you don't see what sprayed it. Right, it shoots up out of the ground.
Yeah, Karina did not communicate very effectively because she didn't really care. She's climbing into the trees because of the buzzing.
Yeah, right. Taika, would you make?
I guess I'll climb a tree and hope the tree doesn't fall down.
Okay, sounds good. You bet.
Question: did you bring
Yes.
your friends with you into?
Oh
the
no, they're lost
forest?
in the woods.
Lost like destroyed, or lost like you don't know where they are?
Don't know where they are. I'm sure
You
I
bet.
find them later if we ever get to it.
Yeah.
And they'll still have a blanket over the whole group of them.
Yeah, right. Taika, what do you think? You're in the tree line. You heard that, right? You see that. Would you make a perception roll again?
Absolutely.
You didn't make one before.
No, I did not. 3.
Ooh, bummer. A net falls upon you. It's heavy. It'll pit. And when I say it falls, I don't mean it like lightly. I mean a net falls upon you, and then you feel it go like that and snap underneath the bottom of the branch. You are pinned to a branch a couple 100 feet off the ground. As what look like little people made out of clay. They're dripping and rolling everywhere. They land on the branches around you. From the level above that, they and then reform, and they have spears and they point at you.
Does it look like they have a leader?
How would you tell? They appear to be made out of mud. There's no clothing worth mentioning. There's no obvious indicator
Are all
of
their
rank.
weapons the same?
No, one of them has a silver tip, like a metal portion. The rest of it's wooden all the way through.
I will turn to the one that has the metal portion,
Okay,
and I'll engage in a staring contest.
I see. So that mud person stabs you in the head.
I would like
Just enough to draw blood. But
I would
not
like to
he's
roll to
killing you.
not. I would like to roll to not stop staring.
You bet. Roll to hold your concentration while he stabs you in the face with a spear.
2.
No kidding. So you blink.
Please let me out of this net.
He goes, you set forest on fire.
No, I did not. How can I make fire? I don't have hands.
You are talking cat. You set forest on fire.
No, it was a guy named Jim, and I slashed his foot.
They look at each other, right? They kind of shrug so that their shoulders rise up for a second out of the mud.
Yep.
And they go, look, don't look at us. They all appear to talk more eloquently than he does. And he goes, Flame Kitten set forest on fire. They're apparently calling you a flame kitten.
Cool. Now I'm going to freak this guy out by doing the opposite of trying to see one of his memories.
Okay.
And give him a memory to confirm I didn't do it.
Okay, you bet. You want to roll for that?
Yeah. Got a 6.
Nice. You bet. What memory do you share with him?
I shared the whole experience of seeing the burnt guy, the explosion, me punishing him for setting it on fire while slashing him down the area full of sensitive nerves.
You bet.
The memory of you standing on top of a building, watching the explosion and the fire happen.
Right.
100%.
See, I would have done that totally differently. You're a cat, right? I would have shared a memory of you like cleaning yourself or something. But he.
That's only when he wants to, really distract them.
Yeah, right. You watch he doesn't take the spear away from you, but he does loosen his grip for a second. You are close enough that you could theoretically reach out with the paw and swipe at him. Do you want to try and engage him in some sort of physical, I'm going to use the word combat loosely here. Okay.
No, I have no reason to fight these people. They have a clear concern. I just give evidence.
You bet. So the mud people, other than this one keeps his eye on you, but the other ones drip off the trees and fall to where your allies are. It rains mud for a second. They pull themselves together, and then they create a mud wall, like a mud shell along the ground. And he expresses that he tells you that will keep your friends safe from the acid bugs. But I mean, because they're immune. And he's like, look, you will help us find the Cinder Kitten, or we will let you get blown to acidy bits.
I will bring you to the Cinder Kitten. Once
Fantastic.
The bugs are dealt with.
You watch him pause for a second. And he kind of reaches into his own body, and you watch his there's a tingling sensation in the net, and the branch and everything piles onto the floor. So you're still in the net, wrapped around the branch, but now it's on the ground. When you hit the ground, the mud people that you land on insulate whatever damage you might take.
Beautiful.
So the rest of you see that. He just falls from the trees. There he is, tied to a branch, right? A mud person on the end of it. And he expresses to you the deal he's made with the cat. That the mud people keep you safe from the acid bugs, and they'll guarantee you safe passage through the forest if you help them deal with their fire kitten problem.
I think Karina sees that and wants to be free of the burden of this child that isn't even hers. Just kind of plops the child down with the mud people.
Sounds good.
Keep click safe in jungle forest.
Click doesn't need your backup, right? Yeah, I thought that might happen.
Click not in danger.
Walk back with me. And I will start to head back to the town, leading the mud people to Jim.
Nice. The mud people go with you. They do their best to stay away from Click. Like, if he walks on the left, they walk on the right, right? They do their best to stay away from him. He makes them uncomfortable. Once you get back to town, the big ogre creature, right, is not thrilled. Oh, I'm sorry, you were taking them back to town to see the burn victim.
Yeah. Yes.
You bet. When you get back to town, he's more stable than he was before. He's time and relaxation, right? The doctor has pumped some stuff into him. He's capable of speaking. He's never seen the Mud People before, or any of you, really. He was barely conscious when you saved him.
On the way back, I do have a request for the Mud People, however.
Sure.
Since I am leading you here, I request that you do not take this fire kitten's life.
They argue that those aren't acceptable terms.
That's fine.
So fire kitten causes them consistent pain and death. That's an unacceptable term for them.
Yeah, that is fine. It was merely a request. You will do what you must.
The fire kitten, they explain that to them, the fire kitten is just a nuisance.
Yep.
But it gathers shinies from the people that it kills. And it kind of looks to Gobbo, and they live here in the forest too. They recognize, if not you, the things that you make, right? And they suggest that you are not the only person with an interest in plants and chemicals that cause interesting reactions. And they have it on good authority that the Cinder Kitten just killed a bunch of people who do that. So you might have intellectual reason to assist them in killing the Cinder Kitten.
All right, guys, I'm ready to go. We're killing a kitten, right? Okay.
No, it is a man named Jim.
You've met Jim.
Is Tim the ogre still with us? Because Tim's brother.
Yeah. He's followed you this whole time.
Has he figured out what's going on yet?
He's finally added up that he believed his brother didn't do it to begin with, right? When he hears the word Cinder Kitten, he starts to shake. He's definitely afraid of that. And he goes, no. We have no. That's it. He just a lot. The Mud People don't freak him out in the slightest. He laughs at them. He points and does the big belly laugh, and he goes, talking mud. So when you get back to the burn victim, he's awake. And he goes, hey, look, everybody seems to think I set the forest on fire. That's not what happened. Okay. And he sees Gobbo and he goes, you.
Me?
Yes, you freak.
You mean the person who sewed you up and brought you here after you lit the forest on fire? Yes, me.
I love how Gobbo's got a little bit of spine. Good for him. And he goes, well, all right, look, I might have come off to the wrong foot there. So whether or not I built a tower quickly, I might add, and he
poorly, I might add,
chest and goes, ow. Right? Yeah, he puffs up his chest, and then his body reminds him that he shouldn't be doing that right now. He goes, oh. And he goes, I built a tower quickly, and look, don't bring in quality workmanship into this. I had to build it in like 6 hours. What do you want from me? I didn't blow it up.
Watch your tone, or else I will investigate your other foot.
And he goes, wait, that was you? I thought that was... Why? Why did you hurt me?
As punishment for throwing fire in the forest.
I didn't throw fire in the forest. That blasted cat
Have you
did that.
never thrown fire in the forest?
No, never.
I thought it was a fire kitten, not a blast kitten.
So would the four of you, or at least those of you who are eyeballing him, I don't know how many of you are like involved in this conversation, but those of you who are, feel free to make perception checks.
I absolutely will. I feel I would be good at this based off of what I've been through.
Yeah, sure. You bet.
And I think I'm poorly at this because he's a human, so...
I got a 4 with disadvantage.
2 ones, so Karina, nothing.
I got
Karina doesn't see shit.
3.
Nice. Gobbo, what'd you get?
I got a 4 with disadvantage.
Rough. No, wait, that's not rough. That's good.
Yeah. That's good.
I got a 5 and a 4.
Nice.
And Click rolled 2 4s, so,
Nice.
Yeah. So those of you who rolled at least a 3 notice that his eyes twitch for a second, and they go from a very human-looking, like rich chocolatey brown to we're talking a split second, but a bright electric blue with no pupil in them, just the whole thing. And then it flickers back to normal. And he says,
strange.
No, he goes, I did not set the forest on fire. I built a tower. That's it. I was coming down from the top of it, and that blasted kitten ran by chasing one of those obnoxious bugs. And I did all I could do to get out of the blast in time. Look, I didn't mean to set the forest on fire. I'm a clipper by trade. That's my job. I build and cut things down. I would never burn this forest down. The mud people don't care. Like in his mind, in their mind, the cat did it, but then you deliberately led them to this guy. They take that as he did it, right? So they gather around him and they start to sort of pulse, like the orb inside of a lava lamp. They start to sort of vibrate and mold, and like a marshmallow in a microwave.
Click gets his face right down with his big bug eyes and looks right into his eyes. Goes, "You have very strange human eyes."
You saw it too? Yes, it was really weird. Can you do it again?
I'm standing like this far from his face.
Yeah, right. Do you want to intimidate him, or are you just?
No, well, if he feels intimidated with a giant bug luring over him, that's his problem.
I think he would. Yeah, I think he would. He's been burnt. He's been accused of what is considered here a huge crime, right? Like that's right up there with treason, right? You're this close. There are bug people that would like to kill him.
And my mandible blades, they're right there too. So
oh yeah.
They got those metal blades on them for.
So they end like this far from his nose. Click, click. Right? He's not having a good day. They go, hey, whoa, look. And he kind of tries to keep one eye on you and one eye on the mud people, and he can't. He's got human eyes. You can't really do that. So he kind of flits back and forth, and he goes, look, I don't know you. I don't know. I can't. Look, they clearly, whatever they're doing makes me uncomfortable. Honestly, whatever you're doing also makes me uncomfortable. So look, the townsfolk are never going to see me the same way again until we clear my name, and I would really like to do that. So, yeah, okay, I got weird eyes. I didn't set the forest on fire. Please help me take care of this. I didn't do anything wrong, and I would very much like to prove it. Also, and he motions to Gobbo and goes, I owe you an apology. He doesn't look at you. He's too busy staring at the bug. But he points, right, and says, I do owe you an apology. It's my bad for building a tower to spy on somebody just because they're different. Lesson learned, I swear. Now, please get me out of this alive. Karina, what do you think? You're the most focused on, pro-mutant.
So these mud people are going to kill him unless we find this other thing.
They might kill him anyway.
I think Karina is just going to pick him up. Because, she's big. So she's just going to pick him up and start walking towards the forest. And be like, all right, let's go find this thing. Otherwise, you die.
The mud people follow you like an angry mob. They don't pick fights with you. You're strong and kind of scary looking. They're not doing that, right? But they do follow behind you. Taika, what do you think?
As long as this gets resolved, I just want to go.
I see. Gobbo, how do you feel about that? He not only copped to that he was spying on you, but then was like, I'm sorry. But he said I'm sorry when he was this far away from dead. How do you feel about that? Do you give a shit? Do you have emotional
I'll help you
concern?
on one condition, Jim. You signed the same contract I had your brother Tim sign, where if you die, I get your body.
That's creepy, but
your eyes did a thing, and I want to know why. It's probably going to be the only way I can find out why. So please sign, and I'll help you out.
Once you're out of earshot of the other villagers, he'll say, I'll tell you what, you get me out of this alive, and I'll tell you what they do, why they do what they do.
No, I still want the contract. I want your body.
I want you. He's kind of creeped out, but he agrees to sign the contract. As you advance in the forest back to the tower, he says, okay, cards on the table. I'm not actually sure how to prove my innocence. I didn't do it, but I'm not really sure how to prove that.
Well, there's a reason I asked for your body.
He goes, you're smart. And he points to the bug and the intimidating lady, and he goes, you're, scary. And he looks at the cat and goes, what exactly do you do, Ken? How do we look, I'm freaking out. Okay. How do we prove I didn't do this? And he starts to tremble and sweat. The mud people start to like pulse and vibrate. They're very much hoping that you can't prove it in a sense.
Where did you first see the fire cat?
He points to a burn streak that comes from the west-ish straight through this area and into the east. It's still all trees, but
I will be right back. I'll try and do what I did following the path up top, but on the ground here.
So you're going to go up in the trees and then hunt the burn mark from above?
No, I'm going to start off on the ground.
Okay.
And then if I have to go in the trees, then I will.
Okay, you bet. You start off on the ground, you dart through the trees. I mean, you're a cat. You effortlessly hop, skip, and jump your way through the space.
Yeah.
Like a high-speed predator. And you come across what looks like a char pit. It's maybe 30 or 40 feet deep. It's a fairly gradual thing. It's like a sinkhole, except the whole thing is burnt. And in the bottom of it is a cat, size of it like a leopard, made out of smoke and fire, that is busy being, I'm going to generously call this petted, by what looks like some sort of lizard man. He's got leather strap. He's like somewhere between a dog and a crocodile for nose length, right? But he's definitely a lizard. Lots of teeth, eyes on the sides of his head. He's got like leather straps on him. There's lots of vials hanging off of him. He definitely doesn't look like a local, right? He doesn't look like any other. He's definitely not human. And he's got a stick with what looks like dried gourds maybe hanging off of it. With his other hand, he pets the tiger. Did you want to do this quietly, or did you take off through the trees?
Quietly.
You bet. Make the stealth roll then to see if he notices you or if it notices you.
Got a 6.
Nice. You bet. So you make the move quiet as a shadow, right? You get to the top of the pit, and he is petting the cat and explaining to it with a voice that sounds like if you put wooden blocks in a dryer. They clattered around in there. That as soon as they destroy is a good cat. Once it destroys the tower, and they blame the builder, he'll get everybody else, and then he'll get what he wanted.
That answers my question. I go back and I get everyone else to bring them to the fire cat.
You bet.
And I would
Click,
I would like to help them move stealthily if I can, because
Okay, how would you do that? Do you walk them through it? Like, don't walk like that. Walk like this.
100%.
Like, press your feet down as you walk.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, that's too real. Teaching people how to dance, teaching people how to walk is a thing.
Yeah, right. Like, running is like walking, only faster. Like, I am so looking forward to the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon remake that's coming out shortly, because that has the most obnoxious tutorial I've ever played in my life. Like, it's super fun. So, as a group, if you want to, he's up for like mentoring your stealth as you move. I don't know if the stealth is your jam, but feel free to roll stealth if you want. In any case, Taika has found somebody involved in the burning of the tower.
Well, Click is a giant exoskeleton,
With mandibles
Ant-Man.
that click. Right.
Yeah. And, joints that aren't terribly quiet either. Like a guy in full plate armor trying to move stealthily kind of thing.
Oh, man, that's so historically inaccurate, but that's okay.
I got a 5 for moving stealthily.
Nice. You bet.
I think that's something that Karina's just proficient in anyway.
Okay. Sounds good. Karina, would you describe yourself so like people listening, and to be honest, me, has an idea what you look like?
Yeah, so she's a half-orc.
Okay.
Well, technically she is like a full orc, like both of her parents were orcs. But her dad was a mutant, like a full mutant.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, she's like this big green buff orc, long hair, like definitely think like the Warcraft movie, like the kind of orcs that were in that movie.
Sort of
nice.
couple kind of dreadlock, kind of with beads and stuff.
Yeah, like braids everywhere. just very, very much like your typical like barbarian kind of like get up.
Do you have the large tusks too?
Yes, she's got large tusks that like curve upward.
From
that
the
come
lower,
out from like
lower
the
part.
bottom, lower tusks. Yeah.
Very cool.
And then she wears a crap ton of armor to hide her mutant part of her, which is like these really hard armor scales that cover basically her entire like torso. But nobody can see them because she's wearing like layer after layer of armor to like make sure that nobody sees them.
And then like
How
a tab.
tall are you?
I would say probably like 6 foot, around
Wow.
6 foot.
Okay, cool. So we've got quite the party here. We've got a giant bug creature, bug man. I don't know if you identify as a male, but you know, there's a bug, right? A large.
Yeah, we're
like,
actually we're kind of that neutral, worker bug kind of thing.
I see.
Ant.
Gobbo, the charmingly handsome but still unassuming human. The half-orc like warrior lady and the talking cat. This is quite the team.
It's true. And whenever
I love how Gobbo is this guy who lives in the woods and creates friends because he can't seem to make any on his own because he's socially awkward, but he's got like Superman's jaw. That's great.
and like with Taika, whenever he uses his spiritual abilities, his stripes change color.
No kidding. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is it like a different color every time, or is it like a specific
different color? It depends on the emotional intention behind the ability.
So your stripes are like a mood ring.
Yeah, right.
Yes, 100%.
That's awesome. I was just thinking that. That's good. So did anybody roll under a 3 for stealth?
Oh, I'll roll here at I'll roll normal because he's helping. But normally I'd roll at disadvantage. I think.
You bet.
5 then. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, disadvantage. That's pretty great. Did anybody roll under a 3?
No.
Awesome. You bet. You get to the edge of the pit. The lizard man is missing, but the cat is still there, sleeping it off now.
I am going to try and sneak up behind the cat and drop down on top of it and like put it in a chokehold.
No kidding. You bet.
Yeah.
You rolled stealth. I'm not going to roll again. You wrap your big, strong, muscly arms around the cat's neck. It's awake, right? Like, but only for a couple of seconds as you kind of
chokehold it.
Right, and put it to sleep in a non-lethal capacity. I guess that's not my decision to make. That would be your decision to make. Once it's asleep, do you give it back some air or what?
Have the mud people, like, do they recognize the cat at this point?
When you drop, they, like, as soon as they identify it, they press themselves into the ground and get as flat as they possibly can.
Are they going to attempt to, like, capture it or kill it?
Once they see it, they go into full panic mode and become like puddles of mud on the ground. They offer you
one with the ground.
So they're like scared of it.
Yeah, they offer no input at all.
I guess I'll make eye contact with like the rest of the party and be like, "What are we doing? Like,
what do we do?"
You know, because I've got it. I can kill this thing if I want to, but like I'm waiting to see what everybody else
I'm gonna wait to see what Gobbo and Click do, because I know that Taika's also on the path of eliminate target.
I see. Every time? Is that like you're starting AI?
No.
Just this time.
It's all circumstantial.
Okay.
You told us there were 2 of them, though, right?
There were 2 creatures. There was the Cinder Kitten
and something else.
And there was like a reptilian shaman or mage, maybe. He had like gourds hanging from a stick. He's not here anymore. Where he was, because Taika is the only person who saw him, I think. So where he was is the faintest smell of what, like the ocean. You know, that smell that ocean air has that freshwater air doesn't have. That kind of salty after note that's in the air.
That dead fish smell?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That New York's
magic.
Like, probably magicked. Right. I love how that's a verb now. Yeah.
Well, Click crouches down, like, with his spear ready, and just is glancing around to make sure that the other opponent isn't about and going to try to flank us and sneak up on us.
You bet. Feel free to make a perception roll at advantage, even if you usually don't, because you're like, focused. Gobbo, what do you think? It sounds like Karina, this woman you've never met, is looking for your opinion on whether or not to take the life of an animal.
It's clearly
Not
dangerous.
necessarily opinion. I'm just making sure no one's gonna have like staunch objections.
I see. No one's gonna have a problem. I see.
The Emperor says thumbs down.
All right.
Right.
If that's the case, that is when Taika jumps forward and swipes, but he's nowhere near it, and a red a spectral claw comes out and goes right up the body.
As Karina finishes choking it the rest of the way.
Yes, and that's
The two
when
of you
my stripes flash midnight black.
So the two of you have murder in tandem. I see.
Yes.
So Karina chokes it out. You split it down the middle like a butterfly shrimp.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Does that come close to hitting me since I am on top of it?
Yes.
I don't know. How accurate a shot are you?
You know what? Let's roll for it.
Okay.
Is this like sniper claws? How close are we talking?
It is sniper claws, but let's see if it's a 6. It goes.
Okay,
It is
so no.
perfectly placed.
Fantastic.
Threads its way up through your fingers. It doesn't even touch either one.
Yeah, right.
100%.
All right, this thing's dead.
And then once it falls, I just turn around and look majestically at a tree.
Yeah. Right. So when you kill it, it bursts into like a big ball of smoke and then quickly solidifies into black powder underneath Karina on the ground.
I'm assuming that Gobbo has a vial or something on him.
You could ask him.
Probably.
Take samples.
I'll just kind of step away and point to it. You gonna get that?
Nice. Karina's a lady of few words. It's good. So the mud people pop up and lose their minds. There's a lot of this, right, with the spears. And they sort of roll down. They go back to being mud. They roll down the thing. They pick up the black stuff and roll it back up to Gobbo, like that moving sidewalk at the airport.
I smirk just a little bit.
Nice. They reform and they hold it up to you. Gobbo, what do you think there? What's left of the cat, right? The
Okay.
ash powder.
The ash powder. The arcane ingredient.
Basically. Yeah.
I'll see if there's anything I can salvage from it.
You bet. Do you know what it is? Or is this would this be an identification kind of thing?
I would have to learn more about it to see. So I have not encountered a fire kitten, was it?
Fire kitten,
Right.
you bet.
Yeah.
They're I don't know if you know what they are yet. Roll for it.
I got 2 1s.
Ooh, nope. It's black powder. It's dust and it's black.
I think it was made of fire.
The mud people eyeball the burn victim, who is still very uncomfortable. I mean, he has vindication, right? He goes, see, fire kitten. But they're like, look, there was a fire kitten. There was also a you. Doesn't mean you didn't do it. That's not proof. That's proof of a second party, not proof of your innocence. Oh my God. He looks at the 4 of you and he goes, help me. Please?
Glick's focused on looking for that second person. He hasn't moved an inch. The breeze blows around him.
What did you get on that perception roll?
What? Oh, I got a 5.
Oh, right. You don't see anything. I mean, you see the forest. You don't see nothing. You just don't see a second attack.
You're blind.
Yeah, right.
No,
You've gone blind.
I'm just, but still, I'm patient.
Right,
But
maybe
no, I don't
you're
even move. Because I got those big giant eyes. I see almost all the way around me.
creepy. I bet you're real good at stealth games. I am not. I love playing them, but I am impatient. Right, so I screw that up all the time. That's part where you stop and you watch the guard patterns, so you're sure where your window is. Nope. Like, I
I'm
almost
surprised that
always
no
screw
one's
up.
made an exclusively first-person stealth game.
They
Oh,
have.
a VR one.
That's what I
They
mean,
have.
VR.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I have a VR one, but the original Thief games are exclusively first person and are awesome. I'd put Thief 2 at the top of the stealth echelon stack. Not the very top, but pretty close. It's a really, really great game. Brilliant shit. Old though, so you're not gonna like if you come to the table expecting like HD graphics, but it's really, really good. They invented it. They sold Thief 1 as a first-person sneaker instead of a first-person shooter because there was no
That's
such thing as
amazing.
a first-person stealth game prior to Thief 1.
Um,
It's a really great game. Not the one on the PS4. That's a sort of kind of soft remake, and it's okay. It's not the glory that is the original one.
I'm trying
anyway.
to think of how to help this guy out in this situation.
He offers that he goes, look, I didn't do it, and that's enough for me. It's not enough for them. I don't have a lot to offer. I'm like, like a local woodcutter. I don't have a lot to offer, but I have a cousin who lives in a big city. He's connected to all kinds of things, and I'll get you
Hold
in.
on. Leader of the mighty clay people.
The clay people who have turned back into mud like people after they gave Gobbo the dust. The one with the metal tip turns to you and goes,
Staring contest for his honor.
and, yeah, all right. The mud people look at each other.
So it will be the leader of the mud people and this guy having a staring contest.
Wait, they're gonna start, not you?
Not me. This is not my business. This is his. We've
He's
helped
like-
as much as we can.
I see. So are you saying that if he fails, you're absolved of moral opinion? Is that right?
Yes.
I see. Okay, you bet. He's terrified and weak. He's gonna roll at disadvantage.
What I would like to do is I would like to channel my once previous glory and try and inspire him to be what he should be.
Does that mean he rolls at advantage or normal?
I'm gonna roll to see if it works, and then if I get
Okay.
it, then it would probably be advantage.
Okay, sounds good.
I got a 6.
Nice. That makes his roll much better because I rolled a 1 and a 6.
So what it
Fantastic.
is I pull him aside and I'm like, "This is for your honor. If you lose your honor, I'm going to wreck your other foot."
I see. He sweats. He's uncomfortable. But you bless him, antagonize his spirit in a positive fashion. I'm not really sure how to interpret that.
Well, if you remember what my backstory is, this is the opposite side of certain things.
Right. So you rally him spiritually,
Exactly.
basically.
100%.
He rolls a 6. The bad news is, or the good news, depending on how you interpret it and what side you're on, so does the mud guy. So they stare and they just sort of glare into each other for a while. And they don't let go, right? And the other mud people, this goes on for like 30 seconds. And the other mud people are like, hey, this is going to take a while. And look, you killed the fire kitten. Okay, we're square. Never mind what our leader says. We're good. The threat to the forest, to us, was the fire kitten. What deal's a deal? It's dead. We will get you out of the forest without the acid bugs bothering you.
Thanks.
And they offer to escort you independently of the burn victim and the leader.
Leave them standing in the woods alone.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Neither of them gives up, and they're two statues eventually.
Yeah, right. You ever see that episode of the Crypt Keeper, right? Where these two guys place ever increasing bets. Like in the beginning, it's money, and then it's cars, and then it's
the chopped one where they chop their hands off. And...
Right. Eventually, it's just like two, just like torsos in a nursing home.
Yep.
Yeah. So they yes.
The way I see this ending is he eventually becomes like the ambassador for the mud people because of this developed respect of their unyielding stare.
So they are willing to escort you out of the forest in whatever direction you want.
Question.
Yes.
As a group, did we want to try and get rid of the acid bugs, or were we just going to kind of leave it?
That is definitely up to you.
So, Taika doesn't care. But Duke thinks we should get rid of them. So by proxy, Taika thinks we should get rid of them.
I think Karina wants to get rid of them as well, just because, like, if they wreck the forest, this is a valuable resource where she likes to come hunt. Like, you know, she doesn't want to lose money.
Okay. Sounds good. What do you think, Gobbo? Click.
Gobbo agrees for similar reasons. He lives in the forest. Having trees is a good thing. Having acid bugs is not a good thing.
Okay.
And Click is all for helping the community. If the forest is dead, the community dies.
Good point. Okay. You bet.
Each individual isn't important, just, the
collectively.
community.
Right. Do you run this by the mud people? Do you have this conversation like in character so they can hear you do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You bet. So they express that if you're going to pick fights with the acid bugs, one, they appreciate that. Not that you're going to save the forest from the acid bugs. They don't care. They're immune, and they live in the forest because it's easy to blend in. It's a camouflage thing. And even if the acid bugs burn the entire thing to the ground, there would still be enough rubble left over, enough wooden refuse, that they would still blend in.
Yes.
Right? So they don't really care one way or the other. But they have noticed that you care from the community angle. You care because you care about the humans, or at least what they get out of it. And they think that's interesting and worth backing up. So as they escort you through the forest, they say, hey, if you're going to pick fights with the acid bugs, you should know what you're up against. They spit acid at long range very accurately. They live in a hive. There are more of them than we can count.
How high can you count to?
That's a good question. And they grow little...
they can only count to like 5.
Yeah, what difference does it make? Right. They create a palm, and then out of it grows 5 fingers, and then some more. And they just sort of, until they've got like a sunflower's worth of fingers. They do that with the other hand, and they go more than this. We're not really sure. There's a lot.
Would I be able to roll to see if, like, I remember the weaknesses?
Yeah, absolutely.
The acid bugs?
I was just about to suggest that you said you'd fought them before, so make
Yes.
that roll with advantage.
That's a 4.
You bet. So acid bugs are very much like cockroaches. They're somewhere between a cockroach and a tick. Their carapace is real tough, but you can just smush them. It just takes effort to do so. Their weak spot is their belly, for sure. They spit acid at long range, and they're very good at it. They have 2 big weaknesses. They are bugs, so they don't deal well with things like smoke, right? If you can disorient them, their aim drops to basically nothing. They travel in large groups. Their hive is huge and underground. They are not particularly big. They're like the size of, slightly smaller than average house cat. So their tunnels are designed for them, not for any of you. So if you bring the fight to them directly, they totally will have the home court advantage. On the other side, it will be difficult to get them to leave the hive in large numbers without some sort of bait.
Would it be possible to, like, pour something down, like the entrance to their hive?
Yes, but you would need a lot of whatever it is to make a notable impact.
Unless it expands.
Or
like
that.
Smoke does.
Right. You smoke. You could use that weird foam shit they use in the Hulk in that one movie.
But Click would understand the hive and how they're constructed to some degree.
Yeah.
Because that's,
Because they're bugs.
well, and they live in a hive and we live in a hive. I mean, there's similarities.
Click, do you have previous experience with acid bugs?
I would think if they're a hive thing, they take up ground and stuff that we would use and could cause interference if they became a plague in an area. So yes.
Okay. Their hives are well structured. I'm not saying that it would be a perfect fit for Click's like long-term drive, but it's not a bad fit. They reinforce their tunnels. They have been plagued long enough that they know that other creatures don't like them. So they've bothered to evolve a little bit, so they reinforce their tunnels. Collapsing, it's not going to happen. Not without an explosion that will make a giant crater anyway.
That's powerful enough to just kill them outright.
Yeah, right. If you're going to cause a cave-in, yeah, it would be powerful enough to just kill them anyway.
And a cave-in wouldn't necessarily guarantee their death because, there could be pockets and looser dirt that they could just tunnel out. They're designed to tunnel.
You could do the flooding angle, but Click knows that almost every creature that creates a hive has, much like humans with houses, the way that everybody uses in most of the time, the indoor, right, the front door. And there's usually a back door, too, just in case of trouble. So with a little bit of effort, you could find that and essentially sneak into the main chamber. If you find the queen and kill her, all of the other acid bugs will immediately go inert. Not forever, until a new queen is essentially hatched. If you pinned her and then broke the eggs in that order, you'd essentially skip the fight altogether. You could also flood the place with something. Smoke would work. I don't know if it would kill them, but it would definitely disorient them. In either case, you're going to have to find some sort of access.
Would Gobbo have like some kind of chemicals? Like I know you said before, like chemical vats and stuff. Like would you have a large quantity of something that we might be able to?
Like
I should
drown
point out
them
that
or to make a hole in the nest.
Your bunker survived the fire. I want to make sure you do that.
That's good.
Your home exists.
Yeah, like something that we could pour down it and either ignite or something that will like make them pass out or, anything really.
Even just to disorient them enough so that we can get in and destroy the eggs and the queen.
Right.
Can I chip off a piece of the material their hive is made of and then do some experiments to see if it reacts with any of my chemicals?
Yeah, sure. You'll have to find
the hive first.
Right.
Let us find the hive first and make an assessment of
all right.
entrances and exits.
Try and track the acid trail that we saw earlier. To see if it goes to an entrance.
What time of day is it?
I'm not going to be roll for that. You can if you want to, but
I got a 6.
You bet. So you find it. It's not that far from here. The acid bug trail leads you like 20 minutes further into the woods. Do you travel as a group with her, or do you wait for Karina to come back?
For me, it depends on what time of day
I would assume I'd follow her.
Okay. Taika,
I mean, not like right out, in spear length, but enough to cover her in case she gets ambushed.
Thank you.
You bet.
For what time of day is it?
Mid-afternoon?
Mid-afternoon?
3-ish. Yeah.
Then yes. If we get anywhere close to about 8 o'clock, I do need to find somewhere to put that Duke can sleep, because he does have a bedtime.
You bet. I love he has a bedtime. That's
no matter where you are in the world,
all the time, but he's got a bedtime.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, so no matter where you're on the trail, 8 o'clock, bed.
Right. Drop and give me 20. Jeez. Right. So you find the access without any difficulty. I mean, Karina's a hunter. She does this all the time. And acid stains aren't exactly hard to follow, right? So you find the hole. As two of you know, that at least two of you, it's bigger than it needs to be. It's human size in width. You could crawl in that. Maybe not stand up. You'd have to go further down to see how tall it is, right? But as it stands right now, it's much wider than it needs to be. And there's evidence of human activity. There's a wooden kind of structure built around it, like a wooden igloo.
Somebody brought them here.
No, someone disturbed them.
There are bits of fabric and what looks like a little bit of blood around the edges of the wooden dome. The dome itself is not super large, like garden shed.
I start scouting around looking for where the back door is.
You bet.
By terrain and stuff like that.
You bet. Make a roll for that. Is that the kind of thing you think you would roll with the perception at? With advantage at? You know what I mean?
I think so, because I know I have more of an idea than. I got a 6 anyway, so.
Nice. You bet.
I got a 2. I don't find nothing.
I don't find nothing.
Normally it's something I'd be good at, but I think this would be a neutral because it's dealing with what it's dealing with.
You bet. Click, you find that the bugs here have gotten creative. The back door is actually up through a tree. Like 100 feet up. That tree must be hollow then. It looks real like all the others. It is real. It's not an illusion or anything. That's unusual, but sometimes you work with what you got. So
it could have been hollow to begin with.
Right, it could have been hollow to begin with.
Does that insinuate that they live in the trees, or is that just like
they definitely live in the ground?
Okay,
but this acid bugs aren't particularly intelligent, so while that does give them an interesting access point, if everybody came to the ground to attack them and they took off through the air, your enemies probably didn't see that coming. They probably didn't come to that on their own. They're probably not smart enough to add that one up. Sheer dumb luck, I guess. It is very likely that the tree was already hollow and they didn't bother to hollow it out themselves. Gobbo, what do you think? Do you want to march in there and get a sample?
Yeah.
What are you, crazy? It's a wooden dome filled with who knows what. There's blood on the outside. What are you, crazy? So you march into the dome. It's humanoid, black skin. Most of a tusk remains on one side of the face, coming up through the lip. The rest of it's missing. And it has a piece of paper or something clutched really hard into its hands. But the access point, like that goes into the ground, is right next to it. There's a hammer on the ground next to him or it, presumably the builder.
All right, I'm going to grab the piece of paper first of all.
You bet.
That seems pretty important. So what is the tunnel made of? Is it like their spit or like dirt?
The tunnel is dirt that has a coating around it. This kind of blackish green, like swamp color, right? This yellowy, blacky green, smelly looking stuff. I'm gonna get a sample of that. But sounds good. It's like paint that hasn't quite dried yet. When you pick that up, do you need to take it back to the lab, or can you suss that out from here?
I was just going to take it back to the lab because that's where all my chemicals are anyways.
You bet. The sheet of paper, it looks like a work missing. He's been hired by Kane Industries to build a hutch here and then call for backup once the hutch is established.
Okay.
What was the name on that hired him?
Kane Industries, Kane.
Kane.
Anyone who's a world traveler in the slightest has heard of them. They're like a giant mercenary group.
Yep.
Are they the family that has like the best fighters in the whole world?
That's them. The Kanes are
one that Karina hates.
Having like various fighters and people coming together to serve one cause or another for money is not unusual. But these days, the Kane Industries has hired basically everybody. They've spent top dollar over the last couple of months recruiting basically anyone who can be bought for money. They absolutely have a monopoly these days, and that's new. They would have to. I mean, lots of other companies exist with lots of money. They are spending a ridiculous amount of coin to make this happen. Weirder than that, what the project isn't public knowledge.
Okay. Karina knows the head of that family really well.
Cool.
Yes, she hates him. They do not get along. Well, he is intrigued by her because he doesn't know she's a mutant because they're
that's right.
Haters.
Yeah.
But yeah, she hates him. She hates that whole family.
This ought to be fun. What now? Are we headed back with Gobbo to his lab to see what happens?
No, I think Click should stay here and watch to make sure that there is no migration or how many things go in and out.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
he takes a vantage point like on a raised area or something far enough away that they wouldn't normally notice him.
Okay, what are the rest of you doing?
I stay with Click.
I think Karina will go with Gobbo because he doesn't look like he can protect himself.
Yeah.
Mean?
Fair.
I mean, maybe accurate, but still kind of mean.
And if Taika and Click are gonna stay, then someone's got to go with them.
Someone's got to go. You bet. Taika, are you headed off in this? What's the plan?
So Taika's just gonna just stealthily stick with whatever Click's doing
Okay.
to make sure that
you
he's
bet.
not by himself.
Okay, sounds good. So you're going to stay here.
Yeah, like he knows that like among the fighters of the group, he's probably up there among the top. So
Now, does he know this because he believes it to be true or because it's actually true?
we haven't seen the group fight, so we don't know.
Little column A, little column B.
Yeah.
Like again, like he also I also have this very mysterious reputation for like I show up, I fuck shit up, and then I just leave.
Like the Lone Ranger. Yeah.
Like I rarely accept actual payment, and I just have a kid following me who's somehow made it through all of this. So I have to have.
See,
some
this sounds
skill.
like Antonio Banderas, like the babysitter, right? Like
Yes.
the action was reward enough. Right? Like, that's fantastic. So you're going to go with them? No, you're going to stay with Click.
Staying with Click.
Okay. So just as we're clear, we're gonna go to break now because we're halfway through our first session.
Yep.
And it has taken you 2 hours to immediately to party split halvesies.
Yeah.
Good times. Like I'll see everybody in 15 minutes.
But sometimes it makes sense.
I have never ever been hold the party together. Like lots of people like never split the party. Do that. Because no one ever says, man, I had the best time because we played it safe and huddled together. And yeah, no one ever says that. The best stories start with, well, we had this stupid idea, see? So I'll see everybody at 15.
All right.
They call
yeah.
like Call of Cthulhu, where you like every Got it.
Sounds good. Let me know when we're back on.
We're on.
Okay, excellent. Gobbo, you're back at the lab. Karina's come with you. As you advance through the forest, there's lots of the wildlife has started to return. So you'll encounter moving back into their homes and scurrying lots of creatures that you don't necessarily see because you're not at one with the forest. You're not druids. And there's a lot of creaking and like the trees, there's wind, right? It's a noisy place, but it's a normal noise. You get back to the lab without any problems. Has anyone ever seen your inner sanctum before? Is this a moment?
Not a moment, but it is a first.
Yeah,
And he's got a girl with him.
Yeah, right?
Oh, snap.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it. Like, some part of me is forever a 14-year-old boy, So you've got your lab stuff. What does that look like? Are we talking beakers? Do you have like a magic box? You push buttons?
No magic box, but there is plenty of beakers and just general lab equipment.
Okay, you bet.
Anything used to like cut up bodies and work with that. So a lot of surgical tools as well as chemicals.
Are there any like bodies in this area? Like if I walk in here with you, am I gonna see like dead things all over?
Is there a cadaver just hanging out?
I'm gonna say right now I'm low on stock, so no.
Okay.
Nice. But if you had just come back from the graveyard, you bet. Like, that's
Arms hanging here and there, eyeballs floating in jars.
That's some creepy shit, man. You got a funny idea of romantic. So, you suss out the black powder, and not the black powder, excuse me, the goop from the side of the tunnel. Do you analyze the black powder too?
I'm going to focus on the goop first.
You bet. Make an investigation roll. You're going to pass no matter what. I just need to know by how much.
I got a 6.
You bet. Flying colors. You bet. Which totally makes sense. So you look it over. So it'll react violently with fresh water.
Oh, that was easy. Fresh water is the right one. We just need a lot of water. Perfect. I'll do the ash one next just in case.
You bet. I should stress you need clean fresh water.
Ooh, clean fresh water. Okay. Distilled, purified, not from a lake. Got it.
No, right. You're going to need like bacteria-free fresh water. You bet. The black powder is just that. It's like gunpowder. You can also, with time and some distillation, you could make that into a kind of an insulation against fire potion or salve.
Good for later, but we'll just leave it here for now.
You bet.
All right. We need to collect as much water, clean, pure water as possible.
If we go back to town, didn't you say that there were people who could create water in town?
I did.
All right. That's going to be Karina's suggestion then, that we go get some people who can create water.
Okay.
Perfect.
You bet. Do you go back and get Click and Taika first, or do you do this just the two of you?
I think we can probably go just the two of us, just to like get it done faster.
You bet. From here. It's a noticeable but not ridiculous hike back to town. Do you like talk while you walk, or is this like two people who don't know each other in the elevator? You kind of look at your shoes and ignore each other.
Karina doesn't say anything.
Gobbo will like try small talk like every 5 minutes, but like just get stonewalled, like crazy day we're having, right? And then just nothing.
How about that weather? Oh, I see. I just like,
Boy, that fire was darn hot.
yeah, right.
We really murdered that kitten today, didn't we?
How about that sentient mud? Right, nothing.
The beautiful pain of awkward conversation.
Yeah, right. I love how Karina's just immune. Like, look, man, we're doing a thing, okay? I'm not your friend. Right.
Right.
That's good. Click and Taika, you notice so they're gone for 10 minutes, maybe more, before any activity happens. You're eyeballing the back door, right?
I basically wanted to stand on a hill and kind of watch the valley or wherever they're at. Kind of, like that couple 100 yards off, just watching in general.
Okay, so you're watching that entire area. You're trying to keep.
Yeah, just trying to motion if there are guards, if there are other things showing up. You know.
You and Taika notice that one of the bugs comes out of that wooden hutch. It pushes the door open. It's just like one of those swingy doors, like at a saloon. Mm-hmm. It pushes that open, and there is a couple of seconds of strong ocean smell, and then that lizard guy appears. Poof! Blink and you missed it. Right? He appears. He like folds out of thin air, and the bug sort of click at each other. Do you understand the language
of them?
Of acid bugs, right?
Not particularly. They're pests. Why would I learn their language?
I don't know. I know thy enemy. I don't know. Taika, do you have any insight here? They're definitely talking. They're talking in like clicks.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay, you bet. So they do a lot of clicking at each other. The priest or druid or whatever he is takes one of those gourds off the top of his staff. Takes the top of it, like where the stem is, like a pumpkin. You carve it, you can kind of set it back in, right? Mm-hmm. He takes the top off of it. He dumps this blue-looking gunk onto the ground. The bug immediately starts to eat. He flips it right side up again, puts the cork on it, and then blips away again.
Do I know what type of magic he's using?
Maybe. How would you figure that out?
I have spent quite a bit of time around a god.
I see. God of what? That might matter. God of rage, god of the home.
It was a god of love.
Okay. Yeah. That depends. Are we saying that did your god embody the whole thin line between love and hate idea?
No. So the embodiment was of love and acceptance. However, because my god fell.
Because people suck, right?
Because people suck. I am now sort of that line of love and hate.
Rough. So maybe make what amounts to a history check to see if you know. Maybe.
Nah, I got a 1.
You bet. So definitely some sort of fast travel system, teleportation of some kind, right? But beyond that, who knows?
So I was watching to see if there was a particular gesture or item that he appeared to use to cause this to happen, so that we could interfere with it necessarily.
The blipping, I see. So there's a moment when he appears before you, right? The staff does not touch the ground. After their encounter, he lowers it to the ground and then disappears.
Okay.
Do you want to say if you can catch him?
No, I don't want to. Not right now. I meant in the future, so I have an idea.
Okay, you bet.
You got to observe your enemies in order to patience.
Yeah, right.
To know what's going on.
The bug finishes eating the blue stuff. You watch it physically get larger by something like 60%, and then it turns around and goes back through the hutch.
Mean larger, like goes this way and this way, or just gets fatter?
Both. It kind of it sizes up like Bob Ross's afro, right?
Okay.
And you watch it turn around the way it came. There's a little bit of blue stuff left, like in the dirt, but it ate a good 98% of it. Turned around and leaves.
I will sneak down there as badly as I can, and scoop up the dirt and the blue powder and pour it into one of my side pouches.
You bet.
I'm not careful. It's more of just grab a whole handful of stuff.
You're right. Make a stealth roll to get.
Hopefully, I get what I need.
Side pouches, because it's a 90s, so everybody's got way too many pouches.
Well,
He has pants with.
Kitten doesn't come with pockets, so. Well, four up on both, so 4.
Nice. I'm currently rereading. I'm finishing the 2099 comic books that I never got to finish as a kid. And they take place squarely in the 90s. And man, you can tell, like, everybody's got pouches and everybody's shoulder pads are way too much. And it's just,
The whole Dazzler syndrome.
oh yeah, everything is extreme. Like,
I just like the fact that they gave Spider-Man arm blades. Like,
arm blades. Oh, 2099. Yeah. He's got like, yeah, that he never uses for anything. They're just part of the outfit. They don't do anything.
Yep.
So the two of you get back to town. Click manages to gather up some of his dirt and blue stuff. The blue stuff smells like food. I don't know if you're going to eat it, but it smells, as a fellow insect, it smells like the kind of thing you could eat.
Yeah. But you never know what enhancements it might have.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I mean, the bug did get bigger. It didn't seem to do it any harm. Gobbo and Karina, you get back to town. It's late afternoon, 4-ish. This whole trip didn't take very long. The people have settled down into their evening routines. The people who are working outside are still doing that. The people who are not working are at home making dinner for the people that are working, and themselves, of course. Some children play outside, but they play close to the home at this point. The town has what amounts to guards, which are just like some of the hardiest people who live here. There's a couple of strong men and a couple of strong women with spears who patrol the edge of the town. When they see you, they recognize you. It hasn't been that long, right? They go, "Oh, we're not going to have a problem, are we?" They eyeball Gobbo. They haven't. You fixed one person's racism, not the whole town, right? Like they're eyeballing you, but
yeah. Karina's gonna look at Gobbo and be like, "Stay here," and then walk over to the guards. There's acid bugs. I need water mages.
We can sort of help. And they grab their spears and wrap them. There's a large piece of metal that's been stretched out, like a big piece of sheet metal that's been framed up in a wooden, and they bang on it. It makes that, like when you wiggle a sheet pan, really loud sound. And people burst from the buildings, right? It's this town warning bell, basically. And the people come out and they go, "Which one of you does magic?" And there's a couple of seconds of dead air, and then one hand goes up. And the guards go, "There you go. The rest of you can go back to bed." And everybody goes back to bed. Or, well, it goes back to where they came from. The one guy steps towards you. He doesn't really look like much. He looks kind of like a wet blanket. Wiry. He is soaked in, hopefully, water. He's wearing a shirt, but it's, like, stuck to him. He looks like you caught him in the middle of a bath, maybe. And he goes, "Yeah."
You make water?
Yeah.
Perfect, let's go. And I just kind of like drag him along with me.
Nice. You make a great video game protagonist, very little action, very little talk, a lot of action. It's a good time. When he ends up like walking foot with you and Gobbo, he doesn't bother Gobbo. He doesn't like judge you, but he is curious. He goes, "I don't understand. The people in the village tell me that you reanimate the dead. Is that accurate? That's cool."
Yes, it's a lot of fun. I make a lot of friends that way.
Are you opposed to having more traditionally living friends? Because I would love to,
Not at all. I'm always curious to have more magic friends.
Excellent. He paused. He goes, "Hold on 1 second. Karina," he goes, "Scary lady, tusk lady. Why are we going into the forest?"
You need to create all of the water that you can and pour it down a hole.
I see. And how much water is it that you think I can make?
However much you can make. A lot.
A lot. Okay, sure. And you advance forward through the woods. Taika, what are you up to? Click went down and got some blue dirt. And then shoved it in his pockets.
Taika is just keeping a watch. He is staying vigilant. He's also very much keeping track of the time to know when he does have to start the process of putting his
Bedtime?
Start the process of bedtime, because
You're right.
It is an entire process.
His young ward, you bet.
Yeah.
Like Robin. So
Oh God,
you watch a
this kid's gonna become the Red Hood of this game.
you watch a couple of birds swoop down, snap up a couple of creatures, that sort of thing, right? But nothing unusual. It's nature. Things eat other things. You do notice, aside from that, you and Click probably both notice a patrol of what looks like humans in armor marching through the forest. Light armor, like leather, that sort of thing. And they have plastic plates hanging off of them. They look like somewhere between Mad Max and an elf.
Do I recognize where they're from?
Yes, assuming you're familiar with Kane Enterprises anyway.
Got it.
They have a brand on the plastic. So the plastic isn't extra armor, it's just identification. Kane Enterprises is real noticeable. It's got a K that will always take up like 90% of whatever it's been printed on. That's bright red and has a gold trim around the edge. It's gauche even for branding. It's obnoxious.
Yeah.
And they are marching through the forest, and picture like a bunch of Gastons with extra ego, if that's even possible, right? Like they walk like this, they hum and chant, they step on things, they don't care, right? They're big and loud and obnoxious.
Noted. No one marches like them.
Yeah, right. No, because that's not marching. That's like fake swagger, right?
Strutting.
Yeah, right. They're strutting from point A to point B all the time. And not all of Kane Enterprises is like that, but most of their like frontmen,
Most of them are.
Right, most of them, and their whole job is to visually take up space. Karina knows this, and I don't know who else does, but the majority of Kane Enterprises is actually a front. The Kanes are terrifying. The majority of the people that they employ are not. They're just Joe Schmo idiot looking to get a paycheck.
I believe Taika would be completely aware. He's an anomaly in this world compared to most people. So I guarantee that there's probably been attempts to hire him, and he's just like, I am okay, thank you, and walks away before they can even give him the actual spiel.
You bet. Click, Taika. What do you think?
I have a task, and I'm on task.
You
watching the valley. Unless they approach this area where they're at, they're of no concern to me.
Yeah,
you bet.
Get low.
They are headed
Keep
this
an eye
way,
out.
but they're over there. They may or may not be headed like this direction on purpose, right? Karina, do you have any? I know you have particular interest of note with them. Do you have any? Could you smell them? Is there any way you would have like advanced notice?
I mean, they're not careful about going through the forest at all. I imagine they've left some kind of trail or like dropped something with their logo on it or something.
You bet. So as you and Gobbo and the mage advance through the forest, you step on a plastic plate that fell off one of their suits, and you pick your foot up, and there's a Kane Enterprises symbol below it on the ground.
Great. What are these idiots doing here?
The mage goes, oh yeah, they came through the town earlier. They gathered up all of our water mages. What are you getting me into? I was in the shower. I didn't hear the call, but when what am I into? And he starts to sweat.
Killing acid bugs.
Whoa, hold on. And he
I won't let you die. It's fine.
He starts to like back up, and he goes, acid bugs? The fuck is an acid bug?
Fine. It's fine.
He turns to Gobbo and he says, you're fellow intellectual. Explain to her how come this is a terrible plan.
Well, you see, acid
am not
bugs are
dumb.
allergic to water, we found out, so this is our only plan.
So let me get this
Yeah,
straight.
at this point, Karina just grabs him by the back of his shirt and starts dragging him along, and she's like, I can hear you.
It's either this or it eats the whole village. So thanks for your help,
Yeah,
friend.
nice. We've gone from volunteering to being recruited. I see. Like,
Forced volunteering.
yeah, right.
You said they came in and asked for all the water mages?
Yes. I happened to be in the shower at the time. I didn't hear them.
And these
what
acid bugs weren't here before. These are very new.
No, the
I think
acid
this
bugs
is a
are
setup.
the acid bugs are a fairly constant plague to the woodcutters. I never go in the forest. Creation's kind of my thing. And he creates a couple of flowers and then a little bit of water over here, and now the waters are apples. He goes, I create what I need. I don't go outside.
What's the most water you can make at once?
And he points to a stump and he goes, you see the stump? I could fill that probably 6 times.
Okay.
It'll have to do.
He goes, well, hold on. You're not going to have me try and drown a whole hive, are you?
Yep.
Oh, I don't make that much water. Yeah, you will need the other mages for that.
You're gonna have to.
Couldn't we talk to the big handsome devils that came through earlier?
First off, they are not handsome. Second of all, they are devils. Good description there.
He goes, but I mean, just talk to them. They'll, I don't know where they went without my friends, but maybe you gather them up. Because I assume
We'll
you're
get
walking
your
this whole time.
friends from them. Good plan.
Okay, all right. Okay, sure. And he advances through the forest with you, eventually back to where Taika and Click are. So you're all in the same space again. The cane soldiers have advanced this way. One of them noticed the wooden dome and points to it, and you watch the other ones go, yeah. And they all go, ha ha, and they all start walking towards it. At what point, Click, do you decide that they're part of
Well,
it?
once they point to it and start doing it, I'd lope over to where they're headed towards the door
I see.
and intercept them.
I would like to stealthily move with Click, but not reveal that I'm there.
I see. So you should make a stealth roll. Click. When you say intercept them, what does that mean?
Well, I try to the house is here and they're coming this way. I'm in here.
Yeah, so you physically get between them and it. Okay,
Yeah.
you bet.
4.
You bet. So you disappear into the trees. Do you appear and be like, "Hey, stop"? I mean,
No, I'd lope from where I was watching all the way to them so they can see me coming.
I see. You bet. Upon seeing movement, they shoot at you. They go
All right.
like that, and balls of what I'm going to loosely describe as red energy spiral through the air in your direction. Feel free to make a dodge roll.
I dodge about.
A dodge about roll. Right.
Dodge about. Leaping and twirling through the air with my 5.
You bet. They miss. They blast the branches around you. But they didn't miss by that much. That was you, not them, right? That was your grace, not their lack of aim. They blast the area around you, but you landed where you wanted to land all the same. They don't stop blasting as you horizontally dart in their direction. They pepper those trees. Gobbo and Karina and the mage, you can all hear that. Wherever you're headed back to where you came, right?
I'm going to start running towards that area.
Okay, you bet. Gobbo, what do you think? Karina's taken off without you.
Well, we brought you here for a reason, friend. Let's go help out.
Okay. He's nervous, but better. I mean, Karina's terrifying. He'd rather be next to her than in the middle of the forest by himself, right? So in that direction it is. And he takes off. Do you go with him? Do you try and keep up with?
Yep.
You bet. When you get to the clearing, you see that Click has landed in front of a bunch of heavily armed soldiers. Red magic in this hand, sword in this hand. And they are marching towards you like a brick of men. Karina, what do you think? You get into the clearing first.
I'm going to shout at them and be like, hey, you idiots, stop.
They turn, right? They look at you and they go, what? It's a bug.
It's not the right kind of bug. Use your brains.
Did she just call us brainless?
Yes.
Let me clear that up for them. That's great. They go, hey, and they attack you.
Taika was waiting and hitting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
these guys have faces.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, most of them are human.
Cool. I'm gonna attack the closest one's face.
You bet.
But not spectral. I don't do any sort of energy thing. I just whoom onto his face.
Now, is this like I'm allergic to adorableness and you like hang off the face, or a quick slash as you fly by?
Oh, so what it is I get up there to like support myself on his armor, and I start clawing and biting.
Nice. You
Little
bet.
Tasmanian devil attack.
Yeah. Roll to attackity. Clickety clackety.
1 die or 2?
Is attacking something you're good at?
Normally, yeah, but they're also armored and they have weapons, so.
So let's go with no then. Regular roll.
Click knows
6.
the best way to avoid range attacks. Oh, sorry.
Is to not be in range?
No, it's to jump in the middle of them so they shoot each other.
I see.
6, baby.
6. You bet. You rip the face. You get in there underneath the armor, right? He howls, right? There's a lot of screaming as blood flies out of his face on this arc as he turns to get away from you.
And I'm just holding on, like I'm dug in, like it's. This guy is now has to deal with me if he wants to see.
He has a cat face. That's a good time. Karina, they're pretty dumb. They stop paying attention to you and start paying attention to the cat.
I would like to try and just bonk as many over the head as I can to just knock them out. They're not even worth killing.
You're taller than them. You're close to them. They're not paying attention to you. Roll to hit up to 3 of them. While you do that, Gobbo and Click, what are you up to?
I told you I leap into the center. I'm drawing my two-handed sword. I'm all for lopping off the offensive weapon, which was their hand throwing the magic at me.
I see.
I love
You bet.
it.
Also roll to attack. Gobbo, what are you up to?
I see the route everyone else is going, and I take out my bone saw and I go to start attacking one of them.
You mean collecting parts for your next friend?
Yes, that is what I mean.
That's terrifying. And the heart. Like it's
I
terrifying.
got 5.
You bet. Roll 2 more.
All right.
Because you're rolling to hit attack up to
6.
3 people. Nice. And what'd you get for your last one?
And a 4.
Nice. You attack 3 people. And you right, like heavy blows against the side of the heads. What are you attacking with? Your knuckles? Do you have a club?
Just like the bottom of my fist. Like I'm just
No.
like, like the little bunny foo-foo
Yeah.
song, walking through the forest, bopping him on the head. That's what I'm doing.
Oink. Right. Good times. Click. What'd you get?
A 6, actually.
Nice. So you, as they fall, right, because she's bonked them, you jump in the middle and you go like that and lop off 3 right hands as they, left hands as they plop onto the ground. Now they're asleep, both from being knocked unconscious and from impact, but also pain. Right? I can't even imagine what that would hurt like. Wow! As their blood leaks onto the floor, the remaining men take off screaming like little children into the trees.
Could I attempt to grab one?
Yeah,
before
sure.
they run off?
You bet. Make a roll to grab one at advantage because they're panicking. Taika, are you still on? So the one you were on has been knocked unconscious. Do you hop off of him now, or are we just keeping his face?
What's his face look like at this point? Because I want him to forever remember me.
It is, I believe, eviscerated is the term. Lacerated? It's bad.
Does he still have a nose?
Lacerated?
Yes, he still has a nose.
I take his nose off, but then I leave him in that state. And I just walk away chewing on his nose.
Another collector of body parts, I see.
That's super gross.
I just kind of look at Gobbo and I'm like, I think he's just eating that.
I mean, he is a cat, right?
Well, he's getting his enjoyment out of it.
Right, and everybody knows that cats eat noses, right?
I got a 5 to catch one of the guys.
You bet. You grab him. Are you killing him? Are you interrogating him?
No,
What's the
I want to
plan?
know where the rest of the water mages are.
All right. Hey, look. Do you give him some more air, or do you just get him to talk?
Yeah,
to
I
you
give
like
him a
that?
little bit of air. Like, this guy's not getting away from me.
Okay, you bet. And he goes, look, the boss told us to come in and collect as many mages as we can from as many towns as we could. I don't know where their final destination is, but I know they're taking them north from here. Okay, they're taking them over the hot dunes. Why you got it? Let me go.
I spit a chunk of cartilage on this guy's feet, and I just look at him and smile.
He goes, look, I don't know what's up with your crazy psycho cat. Look, lady, I didn't do anything to you. Why? Let me go.
I'm gonna look at him and just be like, tell your boss that Karina's gonna figure out what the fuck he's doing, and then I let this guy go.
Okay, and he, like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? He kicks up some grass as he runs through the forest like a scared little child. Gobbo, there are 3 unconscious, and I'm going to stress that they're not dead yet, though from blood loss that may change. And you are the 5 of you, if you count the child, are alone with 3 unconscious men, and the pile of blood's getting thicker. Because they're just leaking, right?
Doesn't look like they're not going to make... Actually, let me say this in a different way. If it looks like they're not going to make it, I will do a quick throat slice on each one once it gets to that point to mercifully take them out.
Without medical attention, they will absolutely not make it.
I would love to give medical attention, but I'm a cat.
I see. Yeah, and it would have to be. I mean, we're talking the amount of blood loss one would suffer if you literally lost one of your hands. These are humans we're talking about, right? Like they are totally going to bleed to death right now. You would need noticeable medical attention.
Click spits a gob of goose out of his mouth and just slaps him on the stump.
Will that work?
It'll harden it up and stop from leaking.
Okay, sure. So they're gonna be different. Their lives are going to be changed now, but they'll probably live. Yeah, sure. Do you have enough goop?
We use it for building our community and stuff. Remember, I described it as a building material.
Yeah, I remember. I just didn't know if it would like stick to organic material like that.
I assume it sticks to anything. It's when it hardens.
I see. How long does that take?
Oh, I don't know. Completely hardened exposure to air kind of thing, probably.
Okay, yeah, so not very long then, like Spider-Man's webs, you bet. Do you have enough of that to patch up? I mean, can
3
you make
people
that shit all day?
Yeah. I mean, you have to take breaks like anything. I mean, it's like saliva. You keep producing it,
You're right, but sometimes you need to stop spitting for a minute or two.
Yeah.
Right. So you solidify you harden some bug spit over their bloody stumps. But they're gonna live.
We call it building resin,
Right. Gobbo's over there going. Right.
I don't know. I still think they'd be better zombies.
I forgot to say, your friends find you. I mean, when you went back to base, they had returned to it.
Oh, perfect.
So I
trained you well.
They pointed can your friends speak?
No.
So they pointed the bodies like, what he wants to do with them.
Oh, that's so sad and lonely.
Yes, but now Gobbo isn't. See, and that's what matters.
It's true. It's the friends you find, not the friends you make.
Hey.
But he does both.
It's true.
He finds a friend to make him. He's just not animated when he finds him.
Yeah, right. So here you are in this forest clearing with bugs and who knows what else out in there somewhere. 3 unconscious men who are going to come to eventually, but I mean, they're white as sheets. That's a lot of blood loss rapidly.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, we could use them as bait for the acid bugs.
Ooh.
That is very much possible. However,
Gobbo.
there's something I must do first. And what I did to the guy's foot back in town, I will do that to each of to one of their feet each.
Do you have a strange foot fetish?
No, that's my marking.
I see.
That's his mark. So if you come across somebody with a long scratch mark on their foot,
and it's the bottom of the foot too, so like they can hide it, but like when someone actually sees it, like they know.
Yeah, right.
It's like the Scarlet Letter thing. You can wear a hat.
That's fantastic.
I reach into my pouch and shake out all that blue stuff and dirt and hand it to Lizard Man. Feed to acid bug and got bigger. What do you think? I And I hope you hold out your hand because then I'll pour it into it, kind of thing.
Who? Who are you saying that to?
Gobbo.
I see.
I'm looking at him here, but it obviously doesn't translate to there. Because he's the one who was collecting other things.
Strange refuse.
I'll gladly take this. What is it again? So I can write this down.
It was a blue food substitute that made the acid bugs bigger from the lizard man.
By a little bit more than 50%.
Terrifying.
Especially if it works over and over again, because, mass times.
I'll run some experiments with it.
I'm gonna turn to the water mage. So you can make about 6 stumpfuls of water. How long do you need to recharge before you can do that again?
I'll need at least an hour or 2 of rest.
Okay. How do we know how deep the hive is?
I don't know. Click might have a relative estimation because he also is a bug person who lives in a hive.
There's no telling unless I have a closer count of how many bugs there are.
Right. He'd need to know how many bugs there were, and they're a very different profile than he is. He walks on 2 legs. They don't. Right. They're much more horizontal. They are vertical. He's not. You said you've killed these things in the past. Have you been in a hive?
No. When I've killed them in the past, it's been above ground. I've never dealt with an entire hive before, just a couple stragglers.
Like scouts.
Okay. Yeah, right. Then, there's really no way to know until you see the hive, or at least had a total body count of how many bugs it was. From there, you could kind of extrapolate hive size.
You could kind of maybe get an idea by how far away the emergency exit is, how big the hive is, but it could go considerably deeper.
I wonder if would Gobbo be able to make a magic regeneration potion? Is that something that exists in this world?
I don't know. I mean, who cares? New inventions happen all the time. Gobbo, what do you think? Do you think you can make some sort of water replication? Uh-oh.
I believe he's not there at the moment.
I see that.
He was grabbing chicken.
Chicken?
I think I might be able to help with restorative energies, but I think me doing that would probably take energy out of me because I'm not what I once was.
I wonder if we could, via some form, either Taika or Gobbo, just recharge this mage enough so that he can create enough water to completely fill this hive.
Do you know what I think I might actually be more likely capable of doing?
What's that?
I might be capable of temporarily, again, at the expense of my energy for the rest of the day.
Right.
Make this mage's spells more powerful through the powers of love that I rarely pull on anymore because I do not believe in it.
The powers of friendship.
Yes.
Because he gave that guy such a nice cat hug.
100%.
A nice, friendly, nose-crunching hug.
So, what I think that would look like would be me pulling him aside. Getting him to sit down and just being like, you can do this. Think about the people in the town and the future generations. And let that love flow through you. You will save them without even realizing it. And with that, light emanates from me and goes into him.
Huh. What color is this light? Would you consider it to be pretty, damaging?
It is breathtaking.
Ooh.
It is absolutely breathtaking. It is warm.
Like Bohemian Rhapsody as a light, right?
100%. 100%. Again, this is actually channeling the being who I was by his side for. I didn't even know what time was at that point.
You bet. As you dig deep and channel your inner friendship as magic, he feels two things happen. You watch the light float into him, and he glows, and he marches towards which hole do you want him to use? The one on the ground?
I thought I would go over with my building and spit and some twigs and clog up the other entrance.
Okay.
Ooh, good idea.
Good idea. You want to do? Are you going to clog the emergency one or the
emergency one? Yeah.
You bet. So while you do that, he'll just a deluge, a veritable torrent of water bursts from his fingertips. And you notice in his eyes the point where he expects the spell to end, and it doesn't. And his eyes get larger, and he's enjoying this, but he's kind of freaking out, right?
I'm gonna stand next to him just in case something comes out.
You bet. And as soon as Taika starts to glow and this whole transition of energy occurs, there is a crack in the sky, like lightning. There are no thunderclouds. It just came out of nowhere. You watch a black bolt of lightning blast the ground, maybe 6 feet from Taika's position. Just once, and there is a burn mark with a symbol in it. Right after he does that, the healer goes. The mage goes, and runs out of energy and collapses on the floor.
I actually don't think he would collapse. I would be the one that would collapse.
Okay, sounds good.
You were powering it, right?
Yeah,
that's right. You collapse. There's a symbol on the ground next to you, reasonably close to you, and the ground underneath you all starts to buzz and tremble and shake. The good news is that looks like enough water, maybe. The bad news is the bugs are trying to escape. What do we do?
I'm picked up by a kid who is now running back to the group.
coming at you with a kid like, hey.
Yep.
Do you think, Click, would you be able to also cover up this other entrance as well? So they're just trapped down there with the water?
It would take time, but we can, collapse the building on it or something.
You have a wooden dome you could fight with.
Well, except for I heard their acid causes dead wood to catch on fire.
There is that. Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep standing in front of this hole. If anything pops out, I'm gonna murder it.
You bet. So would you make a perception roll? It's dark in there. Would you make a perception roll to get a good look at what's coming up at you?
A 5.
You bet. So it is definitely one of your bugs. But as it comes up at you, you watch as it's scuttling towards you right before it was in the light so you could see it, you are confident its movement was different. It sounded much more like the padding of feet and less like the shuffling of insect legs. And it bursts up at you, acid and everything, mid-spray. What do you want to do?
I want to stick a sword in its throat.
You bet. Make a dex save to dodge out of the way and stab it. You're going to stab it either way, but I need to know if it hits you with acid or not.
My dex save is a 4.
Nice.
And then my attack is a 5.
Awesome. So you dodge out of the way and plunge your spear into its face. Or is it a sword?
It's a sword.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. You thrust the sword down and go right through it. You split this thing like a butterfly shrimp. Acid and carapace spills in the tunnel and roll back down the way they came.
At this point, I'm going to turn to the water mage and just be run back to town.
He is already in motion. You say that to mostly his legs, right? As he tears out of the space.
Little dotted outline where he was standing.
Right, through the wall, right? The Kool-Aid man, right? Gobbo, what do you want to do?
I'm going to stand at the ready, and if any bugs get close to me, I'm going to try and cut off some limbs.
Fantastic.
Just be defensive, because I am not ready to be on the offensive.
You bet. Karina, you can see many more bugs coming up underneath that tunnel. You can montage your way through a couple of them. You can roll if you want, but you're definitely ready to harm a bunch of them and kind of create a plug with their own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to montage that out. What does that look like if Karina's just in a bug slaying
frenzy.
vibe. Right. If you're in the zone,
She's
the murder
bug
zone.
thirsty.
What is that? Yeah, right. What
I
is
think
that?
it just looks like it's very gory. Like she's getting splashed with like blood and like little bits of acid that don't really bother her. She's just like stabbing furiously into the hole.
Nice. So after a couple of minutes of trembling, the ground stops, and Karina comes from out inside the dome, and she looks like hell warmed over. Right, she's covered in blood and acid burns. There's little bits of carapace stuck to her in places. Right, there's a bug, what looks like a bug leg that's sort of stuck to one of her legs. But you're pretty sure there's no blood. Right, she's probably fine. She just needs a bath. Gobbo, you didn't have to fight anything. And Karina brought you a couple of legs. I don't know if she did that on purpose, because sort of stuck to her like that. But
Definitely not on purpose.
Does Gobbo think it was on purpose, though?
yeah,
Is the
right.
question.
Right,
If
'cause
he
he's
does,
socially
he's very
awkward.
stupid.
Maybe he thinks those are presents or something. I don't know.
You know, it's that girl brought him something thing. You know.
Yeah, right. Because that's how you court that's how half-orc women court people, right? They bring like bug parts.
Well, I mean, that's a cat thing too, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, right.
bringing
I brought you
parts
a
of
present.
animals.
Blech. Right.
Yeah.
They also puke in things you care about. Like, are these your shoes? Blech. Oh, like, I love you. Like, that's fantastic. Gobbo, what do you think? He's in mid-chew. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know if and how you're going to ask Karina for the bug parts, which is just the weirdest thing I've said all morning.
That is not
I
true.
think, as Karina's walking out, she's starting to notice how, like, gross she looks.
Uh-huh.
And not that she cares, but, like, there's a bunch of legs stuck to her. She's just gonna rip them off and, like, throw them on the ground. Like, if Gobbo wants to go get them, he can. She's not giving them to him.
Are you going
I
to
see.
use those parts?
I don't care.
Is that a no?
It's a no.
Can I have them?
Oh my god, how many times do I have to say, do whatever you want?
I start picking up all the parts and moving them to my facility.
You bet.
I thought you call it a facility.
It is. It's a.
Oh yes,
it's a
this is where the zombie making happens. Here in
Yeah,
our
right.
in our facility.
Right, he's gonna have to like do tours and crap.
Next, he'll want to show you his etchings.
I now have bug parts and goo that makes bugs bigger. Perfect.
Bigger
Nice.
bug parts.
Right, the biggest, bestest, baddest bug parts. So now what?
I'm still out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the period where you shift over to control the kid, or are you essentially turnless for the time being?
For the time being, it'll be turnless. I have a general sense of when I'll be coming back.
Okay, sounds good.
I think it would be a good idea if Click covers the second
Yeah,
entrance.
that's
as
what I
well,
was
now
gonna-
that there's nothing
I was
coming
going to seal it up and then shovel some dirt on top of it,
out. Yeah.
Okay, sounds
or
good.
heavy things.
Do you don't want to collapse the wooden hut?
No, I'm going to burn it down.
Okay, you
Waste
bet.
my time collapsing it.
Then right when he was, I'm not gonna. What's wrong with you? Yeah. So collapsing it is not a problem. A little heavy pack here, a little damage there, and next thing you know, it's a plug.
I come
Not
up,
a problem.
nibbling on a board,
Right?
got to recharge
good.
the spit,
That's kind of gross. Nice. So from here, Gobbo's off to his medical facility. Click is busy plugging a hole. Karina, what are you up to while Taika's busy going?
At this point, a big black raven flies over to
Ooh.
Karina, like descends out of the sky.
You bet.
And she takes some letters off of it, and it's from her mom, so she's like reading it to herself. And then she's going to take the gold that she had gotten from this trip to the town, put it in a little pouch on the bird, and then send him off again.
Nice. Very cool. Click, while you're busy plugging this thing in a permanent fashion, you notice that rune isn't going anywhere, right? The brand from the lightning bolt is definitely, it's not glowing so much as humming. Like there's audio coming out of it.
So what's it etched into?
The ground. A lightning bolt, a black lightning bolt came from the sky and burned a mark into the ground.
I dig it up.
Dig it up.
Yeah. If it's not going anywhere, it's I can dig it up. Then it's one solid piece, right?
Yeah, it burns it into the dirt. That's what I meant. Do you get a press of the dirt, scoop the whole thing up?
Yeah, scoop the whole thing up. Yeah.
So you'd have to preserve it then. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I go, and I put it on top like you'd make a footprint impression, like you'd cast a fossil before you ship it out.
Yeah, right. Let me see if I can't get you a picture of what that looks like, because I actually have a symbol for it.
Nice.
Come on.
I think after about an hour post collapse, that's when Taika would start to wake up and stretch a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
I think that when Taika wakes up, Karina's not going to say anything, but I imagine at this point we're all kind of in the same place. She's just going to throw some meat on the ground in front of him.
Meat? Oh, because he is a cat, isn't he?
Well, I mean, anyone in this group probably eats meat.
Yeah, and
maybe not Click.
Click's carnivore.
I furiously eat it, but just head down, still tired.
So you'll find in the Zoom chat a picture. The glyph on the ground looks like that, except each of those shapes is almost entirely, but not completely, broken in half. I don't know if there's since I'm not running the tech show right now.
I'll mess up the cameras to look at it.
Okay, you bet. I didn't know if there was a way for you to put that PR
So it looks like
stuff.
It looks like 2 dice. You're saying
with 2 cracks in them. You bet. That go from the top almost all the way to the bottom.
My picture doesn't show any cracks.
Yeah, I didn't have time to edit it.
Oh, okay.
They're broken from almost top to bottom through the middle, like an eggshell that's almost completely broken.
So, diagonally through the middle or orthogonally through the middle?
I can never pronounce that word, but that one.
Okay.
From the center of the top down almost to the bottom of each die.
Okay, got it.
So their structural integrity is definitely ruined. But aside from that, that's it. When you dig it up, the humming stops. But aside from that, the brand is intact.
And then, how long it takes me to feel that this area is secure, I do that last little stomp pat down, and then I head back down.
Right. Sounds good. Is everybody back in town now except for Gobbo, who's busy? What are you busy doing?
Researching.
Yeah. See if I can turn this stuff into a creation of sorts.
Apparently, I blanked what stuff. I'm sorry.
Insect parts and goo that makes insects bigger. That's what I'm working with.
You bet. So feel free to roll for that. But I mean, it's definitely the kind of roll you could bypass. You're in your lab,
I got a 5.
You bet. So you have a couple of options there. You could take the blue stuff and whip it together with the legs. They would grow. You would essentially have a very, very sharp sword. Or the bug parts themselves, the bug legs themselves are sharp enough that you could break them into smaller weapons. You could make multiple daggers out of it. The blue stuff is essentially a growth hormone. It's probably safe for consumption by everything that isn't a plant. Anything that breathes in the traditional sense, mammals, bugs. I mean, plants technically breathe, but it's not the same. It will make them
just work on bugs.
No, it will make them larger. There is a drawback. It won't make them dumber per se, but it will make them more aggressive.
Okay. I'll save these parts for later because it is just legs. I'm sure we'll find something I can make good use of it.
Just
And then I'll
legs.
return to town.
Nice.
He makes
Sounds
his own
good.
Doc. He makes his own Doc Ock.
Yeah,
sort
right.
of.
Yeah, that's not creepy or anything. Because his is actually going to be like a bug octopus. You know that, right? He's going to wait
Yeah.
till we find an octopus, and then he's going to like creep.
He's on to me.
I guess Karina wants to know, like, do the townspeople know that their mages weren't just like taken for the day? They were like sent away and probably aren't coming back anytime soon.
When you express that to them, not only did they not know, but they also don't believe you. They express that the Kane Enterprises soldiers march through here on a fairly regular basis, and they've always been a bit boisterous, sure, a bit, boys will be boys stupid, but never
I think I
a problem.
brought one of the unconscious ones with us to like
Okay,
wake up
confirm.
and tell the villagers.
You bet. At first, he doesn't cop to that, but you threaten him, and he goes, "All right, look, yeah, the orc ladies, she's right," and they deflate, right? Their heads hang. There's a lot of this, and then they pull themselves together and practically beg you to bring them back. They go, while the forest does provide a lot of what we need, sometimes it doesn't rain, right? Like, we need those mages for our food supply to stay stable. Not to mention to patch us up when we get damaged. The town doctor, we love him, but he can only do so much. He can only see so many people at a time. Having magical backup is a good idea. And when his resources run low, we need them.
I will agree to help you, but you must spread the word not to trust Kane Industries.
They go, if you bring our mages back alive, we agree. Yes.
One thing to note, on the way back, I would have threatened the life of the water mage to not say anything about what I did
Okay.
to
He
anybody.
seems confused as to why, but he doesn't press you, and he agrees.
And this would have been for everyone in the group to see. Like, it would have been like a clear, if you tell them, I will murder you when you least expect it.
Look, he goes, tell them what?
And he just leaves it there.
Sounds good. What now?
Bedtime.
Yeah, what is this? Why is it a chore? You make it sound like it's a chore to get him to go
It
to
is.
sleep.
Well, it's not a chore to get him to go to sleep. He gets ran around all day. But what it is first it's talking about what he learned that day,
Okay.
and then secondly it's telling him stories of the fall of how the gods fell, and like specific examples.
Time for bed. Let me tell you these horror stories.
Just
That's
sort
good
of
for you.
Grim Tales all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
So the one that I'm telling him tonight is the story of how the god, let's go goddess because it's fun.
Goddesses?
How one of the goddesses of war fell. And
Okay,
what
and how did
happened
that happen?
And all of the sort of, well, people stopped fighting. People just gave in to tyranny and let them be told what to do, and she slowly got older and became more decrepit, and she could not even lift a sword anymore.
And then she what? Perished?
No, she is still somewhere, sitting in sitting in what's left of her throne, waiting until the day she can pick up her blade.
That's not sad or anything.
You're telling me all war has been ended, and that's a bad thing?
Not that part. I just meant like the sad lady over in the corner going, "Eh." How does he react to stories like that, generally speaking?
I think I think it's kind of like PTSD, sort of Stockholm syndrome at this point, where like he's gotten so used to it because every night I tell him a different story.
You are not good at this whole kid thing. You know that, right? Like,
What are you talking about?
what are you doing?
He's better than they are at my place.
Right. So he takes the story.
But no, I think Duke has stayed positive throughout all of that, and like tries to make sure that I stay positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly I'm not a happy guy.
Yeah, right. Clearly not. Yes, you are. You're kind of a bummer. So he eventually nods off to sleep. What does Click's downtime look like? Do you sleep? Do you sort of?
Yeah, we sleep, but it's hard to tell since we don't close our eyes.
Creepy. Like, creepy as shit. Do you at least sit down, or you just
sit down, sort of, put the two sets of, one set of hands are like across the chest, and the other one's still like holding the spear kind of thing, like leaning up against him, and just sort of sitting in a chair. You don't know if he's asleep or if he's awake, because we hold perfectly still even when we're awake too.
That's
a lot of the time.
Creepy as shit. Gobbo, this is maybe the first time ever that the townsfolk have not given you collective shit or shot you funny looks. I mean, you still get one here and there throughout the night, but by and large, it's a fairly positive experience. How do you deal with that?
It's nice to feel welcomed for once.
Aw. You don't have like a house here. Do you stay with one of the other humans? Do you sleep in your place? Where do you go to bed?
It's a great question. I guess I'll try and pitch a tent in the woods by my old burnt down facility, at least like the top part that's burned down.
I bet. You bet.
Take some of the old burnt boards and make a lean-to out of them.
Yeah, right. Two of the villagers think that this is not right, that you should be out there by yourself. So they ask if there's room in the lean tent for 3.
Oh. I mean, that wouldn't be bad. Sure.
And they agree to help you build it. Right? Like when you go to start parts, they kind of get involved and help. Karina, what does your downtime look like?
I think she is sharpening her swords.
Of course.
And cleaning them after all of the bug guts today. And then, once all of her gear is taken care of, she just kind of like leans up against a wall and kind of closes her eyes and rests. I don't think she's a very light sleeper. Like if anyone were to ever even just like touch her or like
stand close even.
her, right, like she would wake up immediately. She's
Good
very, very afraid that like someone is going to like find out she's a mutant while she's not awake.
Okay, sounds good.
I could see you sleeping there like this, and then someone stands a little close and one eye half opens.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's really intense.
Yes.
You bet.
That Clint Eastwood stare.
Yeah, right.
The life
whistle
of a mercenary is not
when
not
they get too
necessarily
close,
a
the
happy
whistle
one.
sound goes off. That whistle noise that I can't make, right? So, Taika, are you extra exhausted from your thing, or did you just take a nap and now you're fine?
I was still tired throughout the day, but like the next day, I think I'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like it
Sounds
took me
good.
extra effort to climb up to the roof portion that I chose to sleep on with the kid, because why not make him climb after a long day of adventuring?
Yeah, right. Why not?
And sleep on a stable roof. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no,
Click.
it's the roof on top of the tavern, so there's probably still some noise down there too. Like it's
Nice. Yeah, it's extra noisy now. These people came together and saved the majority of their livelihood together, right? Like there's drinking and yelling and a little bit of oystering. Like I threw more water than you did, right? Revelry is definitely the term. Click, did you show that rune you got to anybody?
No, I mean, they were all, relaxing into the day. I expected to show it to them tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. So how early do you all rise? Are you early morning people? Are you like get up when it
Karina's
feels
up at
like
like 4 a.m.
Ugh. Oh, that sounds terrible.
Like she goes out into the forest and does some hunting before like people wake up.
You bet.
When the sun rises, Click gets up.
Nice. Circadian rhythm, right?
Taika's the exact same way. As soon as
up
the
with
sun
the
starts
dawn.
to rise.
You bet. Gobbo, what does your sleep schedule look like?
Gobbo works late into the night and normally sleeps till noon.
I see. So when you built this lean-to, you didn't immediately go to sleep then? You went back underground and started working on stuff?
Oh, yeah.
again?
He kept tinkering.
You bet. What did you make?
Oh, I was just doing more experiments. I don't think anything fruitful came of it. He was just looking more to see if he could do anything with it. He didn't have enough body parts to make anything.
Okay.
But just like making schematics and whatnot.
You bet.
Do you make other alchemic formulas or just work with basically the necromancy thing?
Oh, yeah. I should probably do some alchemy stuff too, considering all the chemicals and whatnot. I don't have any ideas for potions at this time, but I'll think more in the future about it.
Well, with the growth hormone, you can make a growth potion, probably.
You can do that.
Which maybe doesn't have the side effect of the anger
I'll
thing.
do that for ease of when the time comes for me to use it.
The insect leg, when you look that over, it has a little the acid bugs leak the acid secretion, but they also leak what is essentially a hormone. And with that, you're pretty sure that if you add just a little bit more, right, you could create, and I do mean like a little bit more, you could create a substance that would like let you blend in with them for a while. Huh. I'm not saying that acid bugs are going to be a consistent problem in the campaign or anything, but they are a plague. They're widely known, like everywhere. They're like rats in New York. Mm-hmm. If you had a little bit more juice, you could make like a "you don't see me" potion.
Okay.
You'll be visible. They'll just see you as one of their own.
Okay, and it's just to the bugs, right?
Right. To acid bugs, but I mean, you're pretty smart. You're like, if I had more bug stuff, maybe I could make a world of possibilities.
Okay.
Well, not only that,
a small dose of that.
Not only that, you've made a way to camouflage your scent if something was tracking you that way.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Whatever it is, we'll think you're an acid bug and not, you. That's a good point. Because Alan is actually a tracker, right? What you don't know is through that door behind him is like a whole lab filled with all kinds of creepy shit. So the morning comes and everybody's up except Gobbo, who's just gone to bed, right? The rest of you wake to find that Karina is already back with. Karina, what do you hunt? The forest has all the things in it you might expect to find in a Tolkien-esque forest.
I hunt everything. So whatever I can find, whether that's like regular food or like mutant beasts.
Do you have a preference? The forest is very abundant. Due to last night's chaos, the creatures there are a little bit scatterbrained. You can totally hunt whatever it is that you prefer to hunt.
I think I'd probably be looking for like a deer, something big, so that we have food for the journey if people decide to come with me to like investigate the mage issue.
You bet.
I would have a question with that, because you're a hunter. Are you more of a conservative? Would you maybe collect some of the animals that were killed by the fire?
I would definitely look to see if there were any, but I'm imagining like a lot of them are probably already like half eaten by other animals.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of it as are you that kind of be a little conservative over killing something that was escaped the fire kind of thing? That's.
Yeah, I think. In this forest, I don't think she's too worried about it just because, like, it is a big forest. But, like, normally I would say she's probably conservative about it since, in other places it's very deserty or there's not as much, like, sources of food.
You bet. You come back with a heavy, like, a 10-point deer, right? Big, heavy. Has a dark green fur tone to it. It's not a mutant per se, but it's definitely not, that's not normal. It's not sickly, it's just different. If you take the time to clean that up and make like a piece of clothing out of it, that'll give you camouflage in places that are this color.
Okay. Yeah, I think that she will at least clean the materials so that over time she can work on that and make it.
Okay, sounds good. So you run into everybody else except Gobbo, who is busy sleeping in his lean tent. The two humans, right, are up, right? They don't have his schedule. So they come back to town and tell you. Rather, one of them comes back to town, the other one stayed with him. But the human comes back and tells you, he's like, hey, the guy's not so bad. He's weird, but we're all a little weird. And you watch maybe the first time, like they legitimately talk about how it's really not okay to judge people for being different. And one guy goes, yeah, I've got a third nipple and that's fine. Right. And they all sort of share little things like that. And one guy
six toes.
Right. And one guy says, and I hit my dog, and 3 of them hit him back. Right. No, not okay. Not the same. Right. He goes, ow, damn it, I thought we were sharing. And they judge him heavily.
As they should.
That's way too much conversation for Taika.
Yeah.
Taika will walk away from that. And he would like to connect with nature in the area just to see if there's any sort of invasive species that is starting to grow, other than, of course, the acid bug.
Other than the acid bug. Now, is this like a investigation? I look around the place and use my eyes, or is this like a Zen thing?
This is a Zen thing, and this is him determining what he's going to hunt for his food.
Okay, sounds good. You bet. So feel free to roll for that, but with advantage, because I get the impression it's something you do a lot. It's
the only way that he hunts.
So he looks in nature to find out what creatures of the abundance, and that's the one you hunt, right?
Not just abundance, but abundance and what's going to cause a problem.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I got a 5.
You bet. So as you roll right and feel, walk me through that feels like. Is this like I all your senses elevate? So, are there like projections of creatures in the woods? What does that look like?
It's more kind of like a Pocahontas sort of like when the wind tells me what's going on. I close my eyes and I start to walk through the beginning of the forest. Mm-hmm. And then just with my eyes closed, I start moving and going.
Nice. You bet. So as you vibe your way through the forest, right?
Accurate.
It eventually leads you, when you open your eyes again, you are standing at the mouth of a small cave. More like a hill, the back of a hill has been hollowed out. Mm-hmm. There is a large black bear sleeping it off in the back of it. It's, like a nature cubby. It's not really a cavern so much. If anybody's played Skyrim, any of the caves, remember the cave right outside Route 1 where there's 4 bandits and a wagon? It's really just like a hole in the side of a hill like that. There's a bear sleeping there. He has 2 heads, but they're not where they're supposed to be. One is on it, one is here, one is on the back. There is a dead adventurer hanging out of the jaws of the back one. And several bodies strewn across the floor. And the vibe tells you that this is one of several. 1 2-headed bear is not a problem for a forest this large.
Yeah. But if it's one of several, then...
right.
Yeah. I will sneak up and I will attempt to eviscerate it from neck down, severing and just causing the blood to go...
You bet. For reasons I'm not going to tell you yet. Make that roll, but make it a disadvantage.
Hell yeah. 2.
No kidding. So you advance on the creature. You get close, but not close enough before it stands up, opens its eyeballs, and at you. This green spit flies out of its face onto you.
Yep.
What do you have equipped on the front of you, if anything?
I don't have anything equipped. I'm a tiger.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know if you were a tiger with gear,
Nope.
You take acid burns then. That's not going to heal well. You're going to need to see somebody about that. It gets on your face. it damages your eyesight, and you lose a couple of teeth. They rot right out of your head. What do you want to do?
I'm killing this thing.
I see.
You messed my face up. No one messes my face up.
Right? I'm too handsome for that shit. Right?
Yeah. So with that, I call upon the opposite of love to augment my strikes, and now I'm going to attempt to rip one of its heads off.
I see. You bet. Roll for it.
This will be with advantage because of strong emotions and connections.
Sounds good. You bet.
That's a 5.
Nice. So you dart forward, and you rend this thing deep in the neck. You feel the satisfying density of bone as you sink down in with your claws. You rip, and you rip which head?
The front one, the one that didn't have the adventurer.
You bet. Oh, wow. One of my cats just farted. That is a terrible smell. Damn. So, Dane, no worries. I was actually thinking that I know we're doing this for 4 hours, but I actually was thinking that 3 hours might be a better slot. Is that okay?
Not a problem.
That would be perfect for me.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So let's pause here. You kill this animal. You've got the loot of several adventurers to play with.
I think
if that's the kind
I think
of thing
the
you're
last
into.
thing that like the group sees is that I've tied the adventurers and all of the stuff to this bear, and I'm dragging it back.
Because Karina's deer all of a sudden looks kind of like small potatoes.
And on the way, I find Gobbo, and I leave the head for him.
That's a present.
Yeah.
Shows he likes you, Gobbo.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Karina comes back with a quality deer, right? Gracefully slain. It suffered no pain. It's not all gnarled and shit, right? and Taika comes back with like a bloody, pulpy mess, a headless sort of.
It's been dragged through the woods.
Yeah,
interesting note though. My fur does not stain with blood. It just doesn't. It just washes off.
Ew. You're going to need to see somebody about that. Your eyeball isn't like gone or anything. It's like in a video game where you get dirt on you. Just wipe it off. You're good to go. You did lose 2 teeth, though.
Yep, 100%.
Do those grow back? I don't know if your magical powers regenerate.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
You bet.
Oh, I thought maybe Gobbo replaced him with something different.
Yeah. Little bits of the bug, right? Put those right in there.
Like a different, like a tooth.
Have an insect leg for a tooth.
Like a tooth from the bear that had got him.
Trophy teeth.
I'm not a dentist.
Wait a minute, you do that kind of work?
Yeah, right.
I like stitch up flesh and stuff. I don't like give people new teeth.
But yeah, no. So I dragged that back, completely destroy the quality of the pelt on the bottom.
Yeah, it's ruined. That's fantastic. So I will see everybody in a week.
Sounds great.
Before after you kill the audio, let me know.
Okay, I will do. But yeah, no, great job, everyone. Session 1
was
was
fun.
killer. We got some people in watching it, which was nice. And
Nice.
next week for this, and later on tonight for the channel. Bye, everyone.
Woo!